5 days, okay, that we've been sitting here talking about Deebo Samuel coming to the Eagles or wanting to be traded. And sure enough, okay, it happens. Good afternoon, everybody. Appreciate you coming aboard with us here. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button. I see Jeff Darlington says it today, breaking news, that Samuel wants out of San Francisco. And today it's news, even though we've been saying it. And some of you have been questioning my reporting over the last couple months because some of the hammerheads that are on Twitter, they do this. Okay. Well, Sileo said it, so it can't be true. Okay? Bottom line here, I told you this about 3 days ago. Deebo Samuel wants out of San Francisco. And you know why he wants out of San Francisco? Because Deebo Samuel is a guy that's being used differently in San Francisco, unlike they used Tyreek Hill in Kansas City or how they used Davante Adams in Green Bay. This guy had over 400 yards rushing for the San Francisco 49ers. He deserves $25 million. You use him in a hybrid. He's a hybrid player. You're basically playing for a position and a half. $25 million in today's market is a steal. And guess what? Eagle fans, he is the perfect fit. There's nobody in this draft this year that will help or improve your team more than Deebo Samuel of the San Francisco 49ers. Nobody. And who has the draft assets and the cap space to get him? The Eagles. I keep hearing people say, what about the Jets? The Jets? Samuel gets sent to the Jets? What would the Jets do with him? BC says, Sills, you called it on Deebo. I did. We've been saying it the whole time. He wants out, and the Eagles have made calls to John Lynch because it just makes sense. And by the way, guys, that notion that you don't trade a player in the NFC or you don't trade a player inside the conference, that's old-style football. You trade a football team, and you trade with a football team and players that you get the most in return. Why would I cut off half the league when potentially another team could give me as many assets as possible? Remember when the RG3 deal got made? It was between the Rams and the Washington then Redskins. Nobody cared that they were both NFC teams, and nobody cares today. The Patriots dealt Drew Bledsoe to the Bills inside the division, let alone inside the conference. Good teams what they don't do is limit the marketplace. John Lynch is not going to go, I'm not dealing with any NFC team. That includes the Cowboys. That's what you don't want, Eagle fan. You don't want to see Deebo Samuel in Dallas. Deebo Samuel in Dallas with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, you'll never beat that team. You'll never beat that team. You got to make this move. Jeff Darlington, earlier today, as I said, reported, because he talked to Samuel, that he wants out of San Francisco. He does not want to play in that system any longer. He wants to go back east. He's from the East Coast. He doesn't want to play in that system. And if he's going to play in that system, he's got every right to ask for more money. You're not asking Tyreek Hill, who had 93 rushing yards last year, to run the ball. You know, you're talking about a guy that you would assume would have a lot more rushing yards, Tyreek Hill. All those jet sweeps. He had 93 rushing yards. This guy had over 400 yards rushing, over 1,400 yards receiving. This guy is a hybrid player. You pay extra for that because why? Just like Jimmy Graham back in the day. You could line Jimmy Graham up at tight end, or you can line up Jimmy Graham at the wide receiver position. I disagree with anybody who says that there's somebody in this draft that could make your team a Super Bowl contender. Sure, are there guys in this NFL draft that can improve your roster? Absolutely. I'm talking about winning the damn trophy, not a hat. Not a hat. Here's where Howie Roseman can act like Andrew Berry of the Browns. Dude, if you get Deebo Samuel on your football team, see, Andrew Berry's already won the offseason. He's already won the offseason. He is the general manager of the offseason in the NFL. Andrew Berry's won it, hands down. Denzel Ward yesterday. Highest paid DB. You got an edge rusher on that team, and Myles Garrett, and you went out and paid $230 million in guarantees to Deshaun Watson. He's the general manager of the offseason. And I completely disagree with Stephen Jones. You don't win Super Bowls in the offseason? Yes, you do. Jimmy Johnson won Super Bowls in the offseason with the Herschel Walker deal. Jimmy Johnson won the Super Bowl in the offseason with all the draft choices that he had when he made all those great trades. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You win the Super Bowl today, not in September, when you have a limited roster. You do not. That team that the Eagles have right now currently constructed is a 500 football team at best with the schedule they have coming up. And by the way, once they play against a good football team in the NFC playoffs, they'll get waxed again. You always know how good a football team is if I say this. How many wins do you think that the Philadelphia Eagles would have if they were in the AFC? 5? That's a great question, Andrew. That's a great question. Matt Hatter, Sills, I came here to chew bubble gum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble gum. What a great movie. The Greatness of Rowdy Roddy Piper. Mad Hatter, I love that movie, man. Me and my wife dig that movie. Very underrated, too. Very underrated. And I'm all out of bubblegum. God, Rowdy Piper, man. I love that guy. You win the Super Bowl in February, Sills. With what? Reputation? You got to get players, dude, now, today. You don't get players in September. You got to build your roster today. Organize team activities, getting a chance to know one another, building that chemistry. Defense has more holes. Defense has more holes. Dude, you need playmakers. You haven't had a playmaker since T.O. What is Deebo going to cost? Guys, let's do this. By the way, I'm feeling pretty good today, too. Last 2 days, I hadn't had the best health. Today, I'm feeling outstanding. So we're ready to really rock it. By the way, we're going to deviate a little bit. You know, I know you guys hear me talking a little basketball. Hey, Birdman, I know you hear me talking a little basketball and you guys may question my basketball knowledge. How about if I put Rick Barry, the legendary Hall of Famer, and one of the top 25 players in the history of the NBA at the bottom of the hour? We're going to have him. By the way, Mike Golick will be on tomorrow. So how about if we put Rick Barry on at the bottom of the hour and talk about if the Sixers have a chance to win the NBA championship? Would that be okay with you? We deviate a little bit? You know, because I'm going to be looking forward to that series with the Raptors and seeing how that thing unravels now as we go up to Toronto. Right? So how about we put Rick Barry on? Lord Brunson makes a return visit. Okay? He asked me the other day, how'd I do? Well, you got a second stint on the show. He'll be in the 5 o'clock hour. Okay? How about that, man? Right? We'll put Rick Barry on at the bottom of the hour. Love talking basketball with him. And by the way, so you know, Rick gives me a lot of shit. He don't always agree, and he'll put me in my place. Hey, Maniac, Brunson will be at the 5:30 spot Eastern time in the third hour, so we appreciate everybody coming aboard. You guys named it, and you guys nailed it. Okay? Deebo Samuel is his name. How much would he cost? How much are you now remember something. Look at the packages that the Raiders had to give up for Devontae Adams and what the Dolphins had to give up to get Tyreek Hill. Let's ask this. How much would you give up for Deebo Samuel to come to? Oh, and by the way, there's two components here. First and foremost, let's ask this. $27 million. Let's ask this. First and foremost, let's start here, Mad Hatter. Let's start here. Would you guys be willing? Would you guys be willing to spend $25 million on Deebo Samuel? Yes or no? And by the way, wouldn't you rather spend the $25 million on Deebo Samuel than the $45 million on Kyler Murray? I would totally go like this. If I have to spend a lot of money this offseason, I'm going to spend it on a playmaker that's proven. Would you spend, yes or no? Would you spend the $25 million on Deebo Samuel? Big Dave loves comics, 20 to 25 a year, and a second-round pick. Hey, I'll get to the picks in a second. Okay? First and foremost, I want to know if you guys would be willing to pay the $25 million. Yes. Yes, sir. $20 million. Eagles are the only team in the NFL tied to every available player. Kivo, but that's Howie's reputation. Howie, I'm not posting that stuff on my Twitter page just to get clicks. I'm not doing that. I'm doing it because one of the most active general managers in all of the NFL is Howie Roseman. Is that not his reputation? Howie may not make – he went after Patrick Peterson a couple of years ago in Arizona with Steve Keim. Okay, this is not – I'm not saying something that's out of his character. This is who he is. He's a guy that goes out and tries to find market value. So this is not something that's against his nature. Feast with Pete? Now that's the other issue. Howie may make the call, but does Howie really want to spend the money? How do you not spend the money on Deebo Samuel, man? It's the best. I'll tell you what, this ain't Alshon Jeffries. This guy's a beast. And you play him in multiple positions. Let's just say Jalen's not getting him the ball. Well, watch this. If I get 3 years out of Deebo Samuel at all-pro level, the contract is worth it. Because I get a hybrid running back, I get a hybrid tight end, I get a hybrid slot guy, and I get a hybrid wide receiver. He's worth the economic investment. Even if he plays 3 years. Let's just go here. Would you pay Deebo Samuel $60 million in guaranteed money? Or $75 million in guaranteed money over the next 3 years? If he could give you Pro Bowl level effort, say he blows his knee out in year 3, late in the year. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Can you imagine what he's going to do for a player like Devontae Smith on the other side? Devontae Smith will have barn door openings across the middle. And Jalen will make that guy a 1,300-yard wideout. Your tight end could be a 1,000-yard catch guy. Your running game, you may not have the amount of attempts like you had a year ago, but that's okay. If you're at 4 or 5 a carry, I'd rather be more effective in the limited amount of carries to create play-action pass. And my passing game is getting better, something the owner wants and the GM wants, and really the fans want. Birdman says Sill's fired up today. Yeah, I feel better. Oh, W2. Way to bring something I completely forgot. And he can block. And he's effective in your run game, knocking MFers out. Pass protection to W2. This is why my fans and my followers and my viewers and everybody who comes to this show are just absolute sports savants. No matter really what the sport is, you guys are just ass kickers. That's right, man. By the way, before I move on with Debo and asking you what the price will be in picks, DB Talkin says Jalen Hurts is now going to make anyone a 1,300-yard player. Okay? Let's do this. Seth was on Sports Take a couple minutes ago. By the way, I love Seth. You know I do. By the way, the respect level I have for Seth Joyner is Mount Rushmore. But tell me if you agree with him as he made this comment with the fellows just a couple minutes ago.
So Deebo Samuel apparently wants out from San Francisco. It's going to cost a lot. We know that. We see, with some of these trades and the King's ransom that some of the receivers are getting. Would you be aggressive in going after him, or would you try and go a different direction?
I was listening in, and I agree with D Gunn. I just think that the price is going to be too high for what you're trying to do, what you're trying to build long term. And look, Mike Shanahan, not Mike, but
Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan is really innovative in what he does. Okay. Do we have the type of play caller on our roster?
I knew he was gonna come. I knew you were gonna say that.
I'm just saying. Listen, when people look at players, okay, they see what players do in other situations with other coaches and in other systems, and they try to project what it's going to look like on their team. The media does it, fans do it, even organizational people who really don't delve deep into what makes a guy effective. You have to look at all of that. Are you going to be able to replicate offensively what Debo does in San Francisco? And to Debo's point, he wants out, but he may go somewhere and find that the grass ain't necessarily greener.
Yeah,
because he may go someplace else, and they might not be able to do what Kyle Shanahan's been able to do with him.
that's right.
And then he's going to get frustrated. And then they're going to ask him to take a pay cut, and he's going to tell him to go to hell. And the next thing you know, he'll be on the market again. Sometimes you just need to shut up and wait for the team to come to you with the right offer and go back to work, because San Francisco is the best place for him to be. And no, we don't need Debo in Philadelphia.
I completely disagree with that. And to me, that's more of a shot on Nick Sirianni. Okay? It's more that he doesn't believe that Nick Sirianni is a play caller that can adapt to that player. Even though Nick Sirianni at 2-5 adapted and changed the entire offensive game plan in the middle of the season so that the team could go on to success and make the playoffs in his rookie year of coaching. I don't know about you, but I don't think Nick gets enough credit for that. Nick Sirianni sat there and saw himself at 2-5, talking about flowers being grown, talking about Kobayashi videos, and everybody started making fun of him over T-shirts. And you know what? You started hearing the whispers in the corner. Does this guy know what the F he's doing? And all of a sudden, they go on this magical run in the second half of the season. Team makes the postseason, and now we're debating whether or not Jalen is going to be the future of the team when we were talking about this guy being trash. Jalen may not be the future of the team. But you're trying to tell me you don't think Nick Sirianni, who completely changed the direction of the Philadelphia Eagles last year at 2-5, has the insight, working with a guy like Frank Wright, to be able to construct a game plan and utilize Deebo Samuel the same way Kyle Shanahan is? I could disagree with that. I think Deebo Samuel going to Nick Sirianni is a perfect fit. I saw a coach last year who was dead in the water. We were talking about this coach being fired and being a one and done. I said it. He sat there and went like this. We got to change this up, dude. This ain't working. You know how many coaches refuse to do that? 90% of them. And that's why they get blown out. Look at Chip Kelly. You think Chip Kelly would have ever changed his fundamental philosophy in Philadelphia? If he would have been there longer. He believed in that 85-play drive stuff. He believed in all that. And by the way, for the record, you need a player like Deebo Samuel in your offense. You know why? When you have an inexperienced quarterback, you're relying on long, sustained drives. You can't get into shootouts with Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes. That ain't working. You want long, sustained drives, and a guy like that keeps the sticks moving. Feast with Pete, I'm with you. Seth's wrong on this one. I love him to death too, man. No shade on him. Absolutely. Big Chris, I'd feature him in the offense, and guess what, man? Devontae Smith would welcome that. He'd be a 1,300-yard receiver. He could be a guy that could get 100 catches. Deebo he may not put up the gigantic, you know what Deebo Samuel would do in this offense here? Watch this. 1,000 yards receiving, 600 yards rushing, blocking like a madman. But Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith would benefit from that guy being on the team. Don't you think that a guy like Travis Kelce is going to suffer in Kansas City when you don't have that dude who's in Miami now, and he was the ultimate deep threat? You were so worried about Hill getting behind you that you left the underneath open. Well, you ain't got to do that any longer. You ain't got to do that. Deebo gets you first downs. He absolutely does. He gets you first downs. All right. We're going to take a timeout because I've got Rick Barry coming on, and the NBA playoffs have had the highest ratings in the last 11 years. I want to ask him about the Sixers. And the Brooklyn Nets and the Celtics tonight should be a pretty good ball game too. Don't forget, Lloyd Brunson will be with us in hour number 3 at 5:30 Eastern time. I'm going to tell you when we come back out of the timeout what the price tag would be on how many picks I would give up for the San Francisco wide receiver. Please hit the like button. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Welcome back. National Football Show. It's your boy Big Sills. Rick Barry, the legendary NBA Hall of Famer, will join us in a couple minutes. We'll ask him what the chances of the Sixers are to win the Eastern Conference and potentially win the NBA championship. His thoughts overall on the NBA playoffs. Ratings have been pretty good. I will be watching Nets and Celtics tonight. Kyrie is a villain. I watch sports with villains in it. And Rick Barry, one of the top 25 players in the history of the sport. You know, Rick averaged 25 points a game, I think, for 17 years in his illustrious career. One of the greatest players of all time, and he's a dear friend of ours. And I go to him when it comes to my NBA expertise. Him and James Worthy, actually, are dear friends of ours, and we get those guys on the program. So we'll deviate a little bit. And then Lloyd Brunson, in hour number 3, 5:30 Eastern time, he will join us. What if I said to you guys, by the way, please hit the like button. What if I said to you guys that I would give up for Deebo Samuel a 1 and a 3? Could that get it done? You want to throw Jalen Reagor in there? I don't think that the 49ers would want to pick up that contract. Okay? They've already got issues when it comes to Garoppolo, you know, being on the salary cap for them. You know, you're talking about an injured player. You think that deal could get done? If I'm willing to pay Deebo Samuel a 3-year contract at $25 million per, say between 20 and 25, okay, and I'm willing to give up a 1 and a 3, can that get done? Not giving up Dillard. I'm not giving up Dillard and a 3 and a 1 for him. No, I'm not. That's too steep. Now you're taking advantage of me. Not doing that. You can get an offensive tackle or an offensive guard in the draft. It's deep. I'll give you a 1 and a 3. Take it or leave it. And we would have to negotiate it being the 15th or 18th pick. I'm not so sure I'm going to give you the 15th pick. I may give you the 18th pick. Okay? The 15th pick, if I'm able to keep the 15th pick, I'm getting an edge rusher or a safety. Then I don't have to get wide out. And I don't have to pay as much for a defensive player as I do an offensive guy. Think about how Howie's got to think here. If you get an edge rusher at number 15, you're not paying what you would pay a wideout. Offensive guys traditionally get paid more. I'm not giving you the 1 and the 3 and Dillard. No way. I could go on the open market and get a 1 potentially, what Barrett Brooks said, for Dillard. That'd be 2 1s. No way. Now, if the Niners wanted to go here, a 1 in Dillard, I'd have to seriously think about it. A 1 in Dillard, they need offensive line help. 1 and a 3. And I'm willing to pay the $20 to $25 million. By the way, I'm not giving you a 4-year contract. That's not happening. I'll give you a 3-year contract and an option, team-friendly option for the 4th year. And by the way, you're not getting a no trade. It's not happening. Dillard in a second. I would do that. A Dillard in a second, I get to keep my 2 1s. I'd do that all night, I believe. But I don't think the Niners, I don't believe the Niners have a first-round pick. They need a first-round pick, right? The 49ers don't have a first-round pick. They sent them to Miami. Yeah, they want a first-round pick this year. And what I'm hearing is this when it comes to the draft. Not a lot of people want to be in the top 10. That's why the Giants are talking about trading out. Okay, they want to trade out of the first round to get more picks and go into next year's draft. I'm not hearing a lot of people really happy to be in the top 10 this year. Okay? Not saying that this draft is bad. I mean, you don't really know. You know, we can't sit here and put a letter grade on this draft until we see the players go into the league and perform. We just don't know yet. Would you do 1-3 and Dillard for DK? DK Metcalf? No way. I would do it for Debo, but not the Dillard. I'm not adding Dillard into that. The only way I'm putting Dillard in a deal is if you want Dillard in a 3, maybe a 2. Maybe a 2. Remember, too, you got to pay the $23 to $25 million here, too. W2 asked a great question. But do we need Debo? Yeah. Aren't you trying to build a championship team? This gives me hope here. By the way, isn't it crazy you guys come here every day? I now think that you guys understand that I'm just not spouting shit off to spout shit off. I said this, and we've been talking about Deebo Samuel coming to the Eagles now for 3 days. Actually, since maybe last Thursday when I was talking with Barrett. When they were kicking up the dust that he didn't want to be there anymore. I've been really talking about this for a week now. Now you guys are here, and here it is. He wants out. And the Eagles have the draft assets, and they have the cap space to make it happen. Dude, DK Metcalf is not in Deebo Samuel's league. I'm sorry, he's not. He's not. And Nick Sirianni would have more of a wide open offense. Okay? He would have more of a wide open offense if he had a player like Deebo Samuel. Dude, your run game benefits. Your other wide receivers and tight ends, they benefit. This is you know what? The Deshaun Watson deal was truly a roll of the dice. And I give you that. But this makes too much sense. Dude, don't you remember what that guy did last year to the Eagles and how well he looked against the Eagles? Maniac says, I'm not sure why he's not in Eagle Green already. Well, if you're John Lynch, you're going to go out into the marketplace and you're going to look for the best possible deal. And by the way, that Kyler Murray deal looks like it's even picking up even more steam, that he may not be on that football team by the time September comes around. I mean, make no mistake about it, okay? Make no mistake about it here. Let me see here. Okay. Xander, he says he can't find the email. Tell him to look in his spam if you possibly can for me, okay? Because, just reach out to him and see. Because Rick Barry's standing by. We're going to talk a little NBA basketball with our friend. Andrew says, I agree, Dan. Debo would open everything up for all the Eagles and the receivers underneath. Eastside Monster, more realistic, getting Honey Badger than Debo. Well, I think they have a deal on the table for him, Eastside Monster. Iggy says, Sirianni tried stuff like that with Rager. Rager? Deebo Samuel? Come on, man. We're not even in the same page here. All right. Guys, we're going to get right back to it here in a minute, but you know, I go to one person when it comes to my NBA knowledge and my NBA expertise, and it is my Hurricane brother. It is Rick Barry. And I'm going to get right to it right away with Rick saying, can this Sixer team end up winning the NBA championship? But first and foremost, how you doing, Rick? Thanks so much for doing this.
Well, good to see you, and congratulations on your new, I guess what, YouTube guy now. I call him Mr. YouTube, Dan Sileo. Yeah, go. Hey, the Canes gave us a pretty good run in the NCAA tournament, although they forgot to play in the second half.
They did a really nice job, man. I mean, I thought Coach really did a super job, man, getting all the way as far as they did, that basketball program. It's funny, Rick, when I was there in 85, that's when they restarted the program, but Rick, did they have success like that when you were there? Were you guys winning 20-plus games when you were there?
Oh, yeah. No, we were a very good team, but we were independent back then. So we traveled all over the place, and the NCAA tournament wasn't the big deal. We played in the NIT 2 years. Then my senior year, unfortunately, we were on some bogus probation thing, and I couldn't even play in the tournament. And that was the first year that the NCAA started to get some recognition, when they used to have the third place game, and Bill Bradley, I think, got 50 points or something in that third place game. And that was kind of the start of the NCAA starting to become a more relevant tournament than the NIT tournament. So it was kind of interesting, but I was very disappointed because we were 22-4. We had 2 games stolen from us on the road. That we were a really good team. We could have done some damage that year if we had played.
Absolutely. One of the legends, top 25 players of all time, my friend Rick Barry. Rick, let me ask you, this Sixer team, currently constructed the way it is, do you think they can win the Eastern Conference and potentially the NBA Finals?
Hey, listen, in the world of basketball, anything's possible. You're talking to somebody who was on the biggest upset in the history of the NBA Finals. We were a team that wasn't even supposed to be a playoff team and wound up sweeping the team who was supposed to sweep us. So I know that anything can happen. It's just a matter of how you're playing at that time against your opponent, how well your opponent's playing, injuries. So many things come into play. But they're doing a really good job right now. They've looked very good in their first couple of ball games. And the same thing. I mean, my Warriors team has looked very good in their first 2 games against Denver. A big surprise to me. So, yeah, they certainly have as good a chance as anybody to get to the finals and possibly win. But still a long road to go. And that's why you have to play the games in pro sports. It's not like in the NCAA tournament where one game you screw up and you're out. This one here, you got to beat somebody in a series. And so usually the better team will prevail.
Do you usually find out, Rick, what a team's mettle is and how far you think they're going to go when they get on the road? I mean, everything has gone so well for the Sixers. They're up 2-0, but now they have to go up to Toronto and play on the road. Is that when you get a better litmus test and more of a sample size on what a team can potentially do? Or is it all about matchups?
Well, I think there's a lot of factors that come into play. Certainly matchups are a big thing, but I think it's up to individuals. I'd love to play more on the road than I did at home. I mean, when you're at home, you have everybody pulling at you. Hey, get tickets here. You got to do that. If you got a family, you got kids you got to worry about. You get on the road, you don't have to worry about anything except playing that damn basketball game, and you could focus on it. And nothing gave me more satisfaction than to quiet an arena.
Like Kyrie, right?
Kyrie had them riled up over there. But if you quiet that arena, I mean, if you got them and they're not cheering, doing stuff, and you send everybody home sad, that's a great feeling when you're a pro athlete. And even in college, I mean, to be able to beat a team in their building, no more satisfying thing I think can be accomplished is to beat somebody in their home court, their home arena, their home field. That's just a great thing to do. I love doing that.
I think, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, I think Joel Embiid is the best pivot man that we've seen since O'Neal. But the difference is with this, he's got more Olajuwon in him where he's got a perimeter game. He's better at the free throw, Rick. You don't have to worry about him with 2 minutes left in the game like you did with Shaq shooting free throws. Am I right when I say that about Embiid? He's probably the MVP this year, and he's the best pivot guy that we've seen maybe since Shaquille.
Well, I think overall talent and skill-wise, he's probably more skilled than Shaquille. I mean, he could do more things than Shaquille could do. Not maybe as powerful as Shaquille is, but very versatile. I wouldn't put him in the same class as Olajuwon. Olajuwon was an amazing athlete. I mean, his footwork and his quickness and the things that he had. But for a guy his size, Embiid is very impressive, no question about it. He can do a little bit of everything. I mean, he can shoot the three, he can shoot the mid-range. He's passing the ball nicely now. He can move and go to the basket, make some moves doing that. He's definitely a factor, an outstanding big guy, and he needs to play his best, obviously, for that team to be able to win. And it's going to be interesting to see how it works out and how Harden is able to perform. If those other guys keep doing well, then they're not going to have to worry too much about about him having to play at such a high level, but you can't win by yourself in the playoffs. I mean, it takes a team to be able to do it. And so everybody has to contribute. Your bench has to contribute. You can't go to your bench and all of a sudden lose a 10-point lead. That's one of the reasons the Warriors went on that 5-year run when they had that 5 years better than anybody's ever had, is their bench always was a factor for them. In fact, a lot of times the bench would increase the lead, or if they were struggling, the bench would come in and get them back in the game. So you got to have that. Yeah, it would have. It's an interesting scenario to see. I know that Harden, of course, has not really shown that he's the same caliber player in playoffs as he is during the regular season, and that's a big thing. It's one thing to play well during the regular season; it's another thing to play well in the playoffs, because you really have to elevate your game. Because for some reason, the NBA, and this just has ticked me off for decades and decades and decades, it's as if they have another rule book. All of a sudden, you even hear the players, "Well, that's playoff basketball." Well, how did it change? Where did the rules change? Well, why is it different? It's different because the officials don't call the game according to the rule book as far as the physicality, and they let it become more physical. And why they let that happen, I don't know, because it really gives more of an advantage to the less skilled athlete. It doesn't take skill, ability, talent to grab, hold, shove, and push. And it's crazy some of the things that they let go in NBA basketball games during the playoffs. I personally hated it as a player, and I can't stand it as a viewer and as a fan.
Rick, I say this about Harden, and you correct me here. I think he's the most overhyped player that I've seen in the last 20 years. And the fact he plays no defense, he shows up fat and out of shape. He whines and cries in both places. He ran himself out of Houston. He didn't want to play there in Brooklyn. And now this is his third stint here, man. I mean, even OKC, they moved him, okay. But Rick, I mean, am I wrong when I say this guy can't be the fourth leading scorer on your team? You'll get it done against the Raptors, but in the second round, you're going to get bounced. If you're not, you were brought in there, and with them giving up Curry, they don't really have any perimeter guys coming off that bench. They just have reserves, Rick, coming off that bench. And when you have mid-range reserves coming off that bench like the Sixers do, you get an up and down performance usually. And that's kind of what I'm concerned about. Am I right when I'm saying all these things?
Well, it's actually his fourth go around because he started in Oklahoma City.
That's right.
But yeah, well, I will say one thing. When he was at Houston and given that freedom in the first couple of seasons there, he was an incredible offensive weapon. I mean, you talk about a guy that could go and score some points and do it, but would it be fun to play with him? A guy that dominated the ball for 22 to 24 seconds and maybe throw it away because he couldn't get a shot off. I mean, that's not a lot of fun to play with somebody like that. I don't think he was a selfish player. I just think he was given too much freedom by Mike D'Antoni, and it kind of screwed things up for him. I thought actually when he went to the Nets, I really thought he did change his game a lot and was really playing quite well and helping them. And then they had all kinds of injuries and other problems. So the biggest thing is he still has not proven that he can play at a high level and that you can count on him and be reliable in the playoffs on a consistent basis. And so he still has a chance to do that. And, we'll have to see what happens. But I think for Philadelphia to win, he's going to have to play at a higher level to be able to give them that other solid player that can go and get you the 20 and get you double digits in assists and do the things you're talking about. And the defense is another thing. He's not going to learn how to play defense overnight. I mean, let's face that.
How about this, Rick? Yeah, all those things absolutely here. What about Doc Rivers? Are you a fan of Doc Rivers?
No.
Why?
And it has nothing to do with him. I'm a fan of Doc Rivers because of the way he treated my teammate Clifford Ray. He treated my teammate Clifford Ray with such it was just horrible of what he did. How do you have a guy and you're making $5 million a year and you have a guy who, if it weren't for him taking, Jefferson and turning him into a better basketball player as the big man's coach to make the trade for Kevin Garnett, which helped them win a championship, right? And then take Big Baby and then take Perkins and make them into better players and then suggest and bring in P.J. Brown to help him in that one playoff run, all I've credited to Clifford Ray, and you give him a half a playoff share twice, and you allow management to get away with that, and then you tell the guy that you're not going to rehire him in September, lost total respect for him. He should, and Clifford just went through some horrible thing, almost died recently with the sepsis injury that he got from getting an infection in the locker room, MRSA, when he was with the Celtics as the big man's coach. And it just breaks my heart to see the way he was treated, and Doc should be ashamed of himself for doing that. So I'm not a fan of him.
Do you think then, Rick, that what Ben Simmons was saying about Doc Rivers not being forthright and truthful and how he was dealing with him, do you think that's just part of the character of Doc behind the scenes, that what we all see because he's a media guy, and you know how people act sometimes with the portrait in front of people, but behind the scenes when you're in that locker room, maybe there was something to what Ben Simmons was saying, that this guy here is not what he's claimed to be.
Yeah, well, it could very well be. I mean, if Simmons is talking about it, I'm just telling you the reality of the way he treated, Clifford and doing that. So if he did that to him, no telling what he would do to somebody else. But I just don't understand how you can do that as a head coach, to not take care of your staff and to make sure. I mean, worst case scenario, go into Danny Ainge and, say, hey, if you don't pay him a full share, I'm going to pay him, and I'm going to tell the press about how cheap you are. I mean, you just don't do that. That's not the way you treat people. I mean, his success as a coach and winning a championship, a lot of it was credit to what Clifford Ray did with his big people. And then plus that, he's behind the bench and he's the lowest paid guy in the staff. Give me a break.
Couple last questions, Rick. Brooklyn Nets, their chances, you think, of winning the East?
Well, they have a chance. I mean, look at they almost won the game up there in Brooklyn, right? They blew a big lead. In Boston, they should have had the victory. And they did it with Kevin Durant not having a Kevin Durant type of game. I mean, for Kevin Durant to take that many shots and only score that many points, that's not going to happen very often. And so I would think if I'm the Nets, that I'm going to feel that, hey, we can beat this team. No question about it. They were lucky to beat them up there. And if they hadn't been at home, they never would have beaten them in that game. So, let's see what happens in the next game. They got to find a way to win one in Boston, and they have to try to do it in the next game, or if not, the next time they travel back up there and take care of business at home. But certainly they're capable of winning. They have so much talent. I mean, they have two of the best offensive talents, in the backcourt with Kyrie, and then also with KD, who's just an amazing player.
Is it the West for Phoenix to lose? Are they the best team in the Western Conference?
Yeah, well, they've proven it all during the regular season, and they certainly are showing it in the first couple of games that they played in the playoffs. I mean, and they've got confidence. I mean, they were there. They came very close last year, and I think they're on a mission. I'm sure that their whole goal was to get back again and prove people that, hey, we can win this thing, and they did it convincingly during the regular season. We'll see what happens. I still think if the Warriors play the way they played in the first two games, I think they can give Phoenix some trouble. Because I don't think Phoenix has the type of a lineup that can dominate the Warriors when they play. It could be very interesting to see how that might play out. I hope we get a chance to see that. But, definitely they are the team to beat in the West. And then you have the defending champions. That's always the team to have to beat. I mean, they're the defending champions of the NBA. So Milwaukee is the team that you have to be concerned with there. And whether they can get through the East, which I think it's much, much tougher in the East. The teams are a lot better in the East this season than they've been in a long time. Very competitive. And it usually is not the case. But this year, they have a lot of very good teams playing some good basketball.
Rick, final question for you here. And, I know Jerry West very well, and he is a really soft-spoken guy. He's an intense guy, like you too, can be intimidating, but never off the reservation. There's a documentary that's going on HBO, and Jerry West, for him to jump out of his chair like that and say that you're depicting me as some alcoholic guy who's a crazy human being, and they're doing a documentary on this on Showtime. And
no, it's on HBO. It's on HBO, and it's one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. They're taking everybody, even players, and depicting them as something that I know that a lot of them aren't. I mean, so many people have stepped forward in Jerry's defense talking about it. They portraying him as this horrible, terrible guy with attitude, throwing trophies and doing all kinds of stuff and drinking and everything else. And it's really sad. And he just came out and hired an attorney to send a letter off to him to try to get an apology. And I don't know what else he can do. I guess because you put the little thing, this is, not based on true fact. I mean, it's ridiculous. They are portraying so many people, the players themselves, the guys that I know, okay, portraying them as people, and they're not that way. And they weren't that way when they played. They should be ashamed of themselves for having put this out and done this and disparage so many people and their reputations as human beings. It's horrible in that regard. It really, truly is.
Rick, you've got to be working on about, let me think, 50 projects right now? What do you got working on?
I'm busier now. I'm busier now than I've ever been. But and here's the thing: I'm on now. My pickleball connections. I'm getting ready actually to go into.
Are you any good at it?
The U.S. Open. I've won actually 2 World Championships, 2 U.S. Open Championships, 2
I know better.
National Championships. And so I'm playing again, down in Naples next week. So I'm looking forward to that. And there's a thing called Pickleball Connections. If you go to mypickleballconnections.com/Rick, you can become a part of it if you love the world of pickleball. Again, mypickleballconnections.com/Rick. You can get into doing that. And then, I've got my other companies, the cannabinoid company, Medicilleaf, medicilleaf.com, MEDICILEAF.com, code 24 to get a discount. And then some amazing products for people if you got knee problems or calves or Achilles or elbows and stuff called Go Sleeves. And you go to GoSleeves.com and put RB24 in the code, and you can get a nice discount there too. That's RB24, GoSleeves.com, and the code is 24 and Medicilleaf.com. So that's just a few of the things that I'm working on. But life is very exciting. Thank God I'm healthy and I'm able to do the things I want. And I had the competitive juices going with my pickleball and pickleballconnections.com. So check it all out. And, hopefully I'll win a few more titles coming up next week.
Never lose a beat, Rick. I mean, I've known you all these years, man. You're still Rick Barry, and I love it. Rick, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. We'll do it again as we get more into the playoffs. Thank you so much, my friend.
My pleasure. Always good to talk to you, Dan. God bless.
You get it, man. That's my friend, Rick Barry. God, I love talking to him. Wow. Doc Rivers is a horrible man. Okay. All right. Let's move on here. By the way, Big Sills here, man, for Morgan & Morgan, where the fee is free. That means this. They don't get paid unless you get paid, right? That means they have to win the case for them to make any compensation because they're looking to get you your fair compensation. Look, if you're hurt or you're injured on the job, finding that attorney is one of the most important things that you can possibly do. John Morgan has been telling me that for over 25 years, how important that is. Look, for the people, that's not a slogan. That's who they are, fighting for their clients each and every single time that they go into a courtroom. Look, we're talking here now over 30 years, $13 billion in compensation for their clients. You heard it right. Over 30 years, $13 billion, man. I mean, with over 800 attorney in offices in Philly, Florida, New York, across America, Morgan & Morgan's army of lawyers are ready to fight for you all the time. Size matters. They're the biggest firm in the country, and they're going to fight for you each and every time. I said, like they do when they go into a courtroom. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call them at 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When you go to Morgan & Morgan, do me a favor. Tell them Big Sills sent you.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When you're hit from behind in a car crash, the insurance company may try to say, you can't possibly be hurt. It was only a few miles an hour. It's simply not true. You see, here's the thing. Getting hit at 10 miles per hour is like falling off of this. 15 miles per hour, like this. And only 25 miles per hour, this. Injured, dial pound law. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Welcome back, National Football Show, your boy Big Phil. I told you, man. Really think I just know football people? Would you guys like James Worthy on to talk about that show on HBO 2 and the NBA playoffs? I can try for Dr. J too, you know. I can try for Dr. J and Larry Brown, by the way. Larry Brown's a dear friend of mine. Larry Brown? Hey, you know what? I think we will get Larry Brown on. Larry, you know who introduced me to Larry Brown? Tony Bruno. Tony Bruno introduced me to Larry Brown. Maniac. Hey, man, I saw that, what you said about you getting hit, man. All good, bro. I'm with you, man. All good. Hell yes, you'd like to have Larry Brown on? I could sell sand. Oh, my God, I could definitely. What'd you make of Rick Barry going like this? Doc Rivers is a horrible human being. Wow, man. Man, HBO should be ashamed of themselves. Wow. Man. Oh, I know. Don't worry, Easy. We're getting back in to the Eagles. By the way, Lord Brunson will be with us in hour number 3. Damn. And you know me, man. I like Doc. And he's like, Doc's a horrible human being. See, I tell you, man, I don't get people on just to kiss my ass. Hey, and Rick's been in my ass a few times. So when you see, he's got his own opinion and shit. Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, hey, man, hey, Hugh, he's very tight friends with Jerry West. And that's why it was a good question. You guys give me some insight sometimes on the questions to ask. Hey, James, Rick Barry is an OG. By the way, 25 points a game in his illustrious career. He's clearly one of the top 25 guys in the history of the NBA. I think he's won a finals MVP, an NBA championship, an ABA MVP, a finals ABA MVP, same thing like Dr. J. I think he's got the same resume. You know what? Now that I think about it, I bet you Rick Barry's got a better resume than Dr. J. Dr. J may have a couple more MVPs in the ABA, but Rick was a finals MVP with that Warrior team back in the day. Oh, Rick was the finals most valuable player. Hey, man, he's really, that was a good little, hey, because, you know, you hear me talking a little NBA, so I got to get a guy on so you know that I know some NBA dudes, man. We got to make sure we throw everything in the room here. All right, let's get back to kind of where we were here. And Deebo Samuel. Okay, let's hit the elephant in the room here, guys. What do you think the true chances are that Howie would pull the trigger on all this assets that he would have to give up? What would be his biggest problem? The money or the draft choices? What would be the biggest problem? What would be the biggest problem? Boy, what? Feast for Pete says both. W2, I think you're right. I don't think this is a king's ransom for a player that could deliver you the kingdom. I don't think that this is a lot. And by the way, this is where I disagree with Seth. You get a player like that for a 1 and a 3, all the rest of those draft choices you have, You can still build your team. You got 2 first-rounders next year and 1 this year, and you got Debo. So wait a minute. I get 1 less pick this year, 1 less premium pick, and I get Samuel and the rest of the picks. How is that a lose? How are you losing in this? And here's the beautiful thing. Debo Samuel has no choice where to go. He can't walk into John Lynch's room and go like this. I don't want to go to Philly. Well, I'll tell you this. I surely don't want to go to the Jets. Go to the Jets? I'm dead. Ask Le'Veon Bell. Bird's eye view. Dan, why take Debo? Then we couldn't get the honey badger. Why? You're 30 under the cap now. Honey badger versus Debo Samuel? Keep honey badger. Honey badger, are you kidding? Versus Debo Samuel, an offensive production guy? You can keep honey badger. Come on, guys. Bob says, Sills, it would speed up Howie's 3-year plan. Absolutely, Bob. By the way, guys, we got to take a time out here. Hey, please hit the like button. But, hey, and also, don't forget, in hour number 3, we'll have Lord Brunson with us here. What would stop Howie from making this move? I got an idea why it would stop him, okay? I do. I don't see why, and I don't see really too many roadblocks here, but there could be one. Hit the like button. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Hour 2, Big Still, National Football Show. We welcome everyone aboard. Please hit the like button. Did I see somebody say that Big Sills takes a 420 break? Every break? Nah, I'm not that talented. Dude, I'm not that talented. I'm trying not to get kicked off of one last forum that I can talk on. Okay. All right. Hey, I've been kicked out of pretty much every place, including my own house. Okay. I'm trying not to get kicked out of here. Why is that, you think? Do I really piss people off that much? You know what I'm saying, man? Do I really piss people off that much? Where, like, I try to just have a conversation. Why does it? No, dude, I'm going to blame it on COVID. I'm going to blame everything on COVID. I don't care what it is, man. Jesus Christ. Chris on Something Strong 420. Bro said Corral is Japanese. Yeah. Easy money, man. I'm trying not to get like, okay. Hugh says blame it on Thai sticks. Man, I don't even know what Thai sticks are. I have no idea what Thai sticks are or what a Philly blunt is. I have zero idea what that is. No idea. Easy money's right about Corral. Did you see the Baldy breakdown I sent? Kid can play. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh. And he'll go in the second round. Like your boy Jalen did. No. There'll be somebody that will draft him in the first round and overdraft him. You think this kid Corral could be better than Kirk Cousins? 6 4,000-yard passing seasons in 10 years? You think he's better? Let's just use Kirk Cousins as a barometer. I want to double-check that. Will somebody double-check that for me? How many 4,000-yard passing years has Kirk Cousins had in 10 years? You think that kid could be better than Kirk Cousins? Kirk Cousins has put up a lot of yards, man. And for a dude that everyone looks at going, dude, that guy's not a good quarterback. Really? Philadelphia's had one 4,000-yard passing guy in the history of the team. This guy's done it like 4 or 6 times. I mean, right? And you know where he's done it? In Minnesota, as Jim Calhoun would say. W2, I'm with you, man. Cousins is a heck of a player. He turned out to be better than RG3 by a landslide. How many years did he? I mean, seriously, this guy's had a boatload of 4,000-yard passing years. You think that this kid Corral could be better than him? Easy money. He'll be better than Cousins. Okay. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. And by the way, I say this to you. Somebody will gamble on him. Somebody will. He doesn't have to be better than Cousins. He's just got to be better than Hurts. Well, that's not saying much, man. That's a low bar. Tyrod Taylor's better than Jalen Hurts. And so is Baker Mayfield. That's not much of a floor to go by. Better than Jalen? I'm not going anywhere with Jalen. Again, there I go. I said, I got through at least an hour where I didn't take a shit on the kid. I'm not trying to. I'm just not. F Cousins. Cousins is a good player, man. Hey, Maniac, are you trying to say that Kirk Cousins has not had one 4,000-yard passing season? That would be wrong. Here, let me look that up right now. Let's do it on live TV. He hasn't, huh? Kirk Cousins. Stats. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 4,000-yard passing seasons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, in 10 years. He has 6. And yeah, to Xander's point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in the last 8 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he's got 6 4,000-yard passing years. That's pretty impressive and very underrated. I didn't know that either. I did not know that. No wonder Xander's talking about them being his dark horse team this year with a new offensive-minded coach. 0 playoff wins? Well, how many playoff wins has Aaron Rodgers had in the last 10 years? How many playoff wins has Russell Wilson won in the last 10 years? How many playoff wins? Oh, let me think. Let's go down the list of some of the guys that have been like supposed superstar quarterbacks. Okay? Aaron, did you know? What was it? Matthew Stafford had 1 win in 10 years when he was in Detroit. He's like tripled what he's done this last year in Los Angeles, what he did for a decade in Detroit. Okay? I mean, how many playoff wins did Michael Vick have? How many playoff wins did Donovan? I bet you Donovan had a lot more playoff wins in his last couple years. He's not bad. I love it when people say, how many playoff wins does Kirk Cousins have? Well, how many playoff wins in the last 10 years has Aaron Rodgers had? Or for that matter, Ben Roethlisberger. You make it sound like it's easy winning playoff games. You were in the era of Brady. It's like being in the era of Jordan and Tiger. You're not going to win very many games because you're in the era of those dudes. You're always getting – Phil Mickelson and Peyton Manning have a lot in common. They were in the era of the greatest player of all time in their sport. Peyton Manning would have had multiple Super Bowl wins if Brady wasn't there. And Phil Mickelson, do you want to hear something crazy about Phil Mickelson? Not to bore you with golf stats. You know, Mickelson was never the number 1 player in the world at any time in his career. He was never the number 1 player. David Duval was. Because he played in the era of Tiger. He was never at any time ranked the number 1 player in the world. He was perceived by the media as the number 1 guy in the world. Shows you what media does sometimes when we're talking about looking at particular athletes and who they are, what they are, how they do, who we promote more, who we don't, who we root for, who we don't. Yeah, VJ was the number 1 player in the world. Phil Mickelson was never. Okay, first hour. Pretty fast first hour, too. We laid it out for you here. Deebo Samuel wants out. The beautiful thing is, this player has no say where he lands. All the teams with draft capital are in this conversation, and the Eagles have to be at the top of the list. When you have the most to offer, don't you think John Lynch has also called and talked to Howie Roseman? Why in the world would I call – who doesn't have a first-round pick? Does Chicago have a first-round pick this year? The Bears don't have a first-round pick, right? Why would I call Chicago and go, hey, I want to trade Deebo to Chicago? Why would I call them? One, you have no first-round draft capital. You're in the NFC. Why would I call Chicago? I wouldn't. But a team with 2 first-rounders this year and 2 first-rounders next year and all this draft capital, the number 1 team or one of the number 1 teams you call people that have the most money when you're trying to sell something. You don't walk into a savings and loan. You first go to Wells Fargo or you go to Bank of America and you try to get your loan. Then you go to the lesser banks that are more willing maybe to gamble with interest rates if you're trying to start a business. Then if that doesn't work, you go to your boys. You know how that's how Outback was started. Chris Sullivan and Bob Bashan are dear friends of mine who started Outback Steakhouse. All the major banks and all the lower banks did not want to give them any money. So you know what they did? They went to people like Vinny Testaverde and everybody that was friends with them, and they started the very first Outback Steakhouse on Henderson Avenue in Tampa, Florida. They got $350,000, and that's how they started Outback. Now it's a billion-dollar conglomerate owned by Bain, I believe. Sold the company for $400 million. This was like 10, 15 years ago they did that. And they still are stockholders and are on the board of directors. My friend Ed Drotsky, who started Hooters. Do you know why Hooters? Hey, see the Hooters logo? Do you know why Hooters has this color? Why do you think they have this color? Because it was a local restaurant in Tampa. And Ed Drotsky, the original owner, expanded out and then ended up selling it to Coca-Cola and Budweiser, and now it's based in Atlanta. It's a billion-dollar company. They went to all their friends because banks wouldn't give them the loan. You don't go to people cheap first. You go to people with all the money. Howie's a big bank. He's like Wells Fargo now. He's got all the money in the bank, but Howie acts like a bank. I don't know if I want to give up. I don't know if I want to gamble. You know, look at the marketplace right now. Well, the marketplace is hot for wide receivers. This is the going rate. Have we not learned one thing? Have we not learned one thing about this offseason? The quarterback prices have gone up and the wide receiver prices have also gone up. Here's something that I don't get, though. So you're willing to pay $14.4 million for a defensive tackle that's not near that price tag any longer in Fletcher Cox, but you won't pay $20 to $25 million for Deebo Samuel. There's something wrong with that thinking. You could have taken that $14 million and you could have applied it to getting a player like that. Instead, you overpay for a guy because he was a good soldier in Philly. That's not winning football. I'm not loyal like that to my players. Hey, man, I paid you well. You were not productive last year. This is not a GI Bill where you're on a 6-year plan and you get to shit to bed if you aren't productive. Getting rid of Fletcher Cox, they would have done that in 10 seconds in New England. Would they have not? They would have cut his ass loose in New England. Instead, we keep him on a retirement plan. You'll pay some prices if Deebo refuses to be the hybrid. But Gravy, why would he refuse that? Because he's that. That's why he's going to get $25 million. Hey, I'll tell you what then. Gravy, this is what I would tell John Lynch in San Francisco then. You know what I would tell John Lynch? I'd go like this. I'll tell you what, I'll take less money. Can't run me. I don't want any more carries. No way. I'll take less money, but I don't want to get hit again. You're asking him to take running back hits too, when we know your career could be over in one hit. We've seen it. We've seen it. Guys' careers are ended. One hit, it's over. I would go to San Francisco and go, I'll make you a deal here. Tell Kyle Shanahan he can't use me in his offensive game plans like he has been, unless he wants to pay me. That would be like a guy, you under contract and somebody coming to you and asking you to do extra work for free. Okay? You're a wide receiver. You're a salesperson. And then your boss comes to you and says, hey, do you think you could take these packages every week down to the post office? Well, shit, dude. That's not what I do. I'm a salesman here. You're asking me to take time out of my day and ask me to add time to my day so that what? You don't have to pay a carrier to come pick up your shit? And you thought you'd save money by taking advantage of me? Don't you understand that that's how people think nowadays? Nobody does anything for free any longer. Okay? I don't leave my house unless it's financially worth it. That's even if it's for aspirin. I ain't doing anything unless it's financially worth my time. But Boomer Esiason doesn't leave his house for less than $10,000. Dan, do you do phone-in shows? I used to. And by the way, bird's eye view, I will go on like with Carton up in New York. There's a guy in Boston at EEI that I'll do stuff with. Maybe JT the Brick. Brick reached out to me the other day and congratulated me on my extension. Couple guys, not very many. Barrett asked me I'd do it. Very few people I do that with, though. I don't do that any longer. Boomer and Gio. Boomer's great. The kid from Pittsburgh, I don't get it. I want to arm wrestle. I want to be Sil's arm wrestling manager. Nah, dude, I'm retired, man. I don't do anything for feats of strength anymore. Maniac, I like Carton too, man. You know he and I didn't. He's been on the show. Maniac, did you see it when Carton was on the show? So don't ask Dan to have a beer on a win. That's not true. I didn't say I wouldn't have a beer with you guys. I didn't say that. Ding dongs. God, you guys in Philly, man, take every. Oh my God. Real quick here. Okay. Funny, I said JT to Brick. He just texted me. Hey, Brick, if you're watching, good. Hey, watch it. Hey, okay. I surrender. Xander. This is symbolic of the white flag. Fucking get it. You sell out the link no matter who's quarterbacking. Stop tweeting me. I get it. Okay. It was a dumb comment. It's gone on for 24 hours now, going on 48. Jesus. Fuck. Jesus. Okay. You win. What's this? You win. Sileo, don't you know we sell out every second? My Twitter page has blown up. Doesn't this asshole know that the link would sell out anyway? We average 69,700, and this one guy gave me the quote, right? 69,797, you butthole. And I'm going like this. Okay, stop. I surrender. How about a shot? I don't know. After the show. I can't do shots during the show. I lose my train of thought. And then I don't want to be fired. You know what I'm saying, dogs? I can't have it. Yeah. A shot of, hey, wait a minute. It's got to be a real girly drink, though, dude. Like a melon ball. It's got to be like a melon ball. I'm not drinking anything other than that. Okay? No. Best work at home. Oh, yeah. No, dude. I got this whole thing set up, man. The Big Sills Studios, man. Oh, my God. I'll never leave the Dan hole. Sills, we'll be talking about mushroom pie after a shot. Can't go off subject for the show. Really? Craig says this. Dan cries on his wife's shoulders after each show. We broke him. Craig, can I tell you how my wife can be from Philly too. Here's my wife. Man, I wasn't feeling well last 2 days. She goes, go to the doctor. I don't need to go to the doctor. I just need some aspirin. Go to the store. Hey, when you're out. Oh, you want me to go get it? Yeah, if you happen to go out, you won't get off your lazy fat ass. What? Because you're doing sports talk? You think I give a shit? So get this. She get home yesterday. She throws the bottle of Advil at me. Bang! Here. Lazy fat ass. Thank you, honey. Hey, thank you, honey. What's for dinner? Whatever I'm making. Thank you, honey. Thank you very much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So if you think, Craig, if you think that I get any kind of like, oh, woe is me. What do you think this is, the home of Ben Simmons? Okay? You think this is the home of Ben Simmons? This is how I was raised. You think that guy up there is going to help you? You got to help yourself, son. Yeah, but I just got thrown out of Maryland. If you aren't in a college by September, you're going to the Marines. Or you're going on the lobster boat again with me. I'm sitting around, man, all summer long, man, not knowing if I'm getting into a college. All of a sudden, they start calling late. Man, I'm going like, he goes, hey, the few, the proud. My grandfather was going around the whole summer when I got thrown out of Maryland. The few, the proud. The few, the proud. I kept going like this. Oh, then I got LSU calling. Then Barry Switzer called me. Then Jimmy called me. I'm like, oh, my God, thank God. My wife don't overcook the pasta. She's spectacular Italian cook. Spectacular. She's taken all my grandma's recipes and turned it into an unbelievable scenario. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I'm going to take a time out here, but before I do this, I want you to think of, okay, look, is the Kyler Murray thing off the table? Would you rather be with Jalen? Debo is where we need to be focusing on, right? Do you have any interest in Kyler Murray? I don't believe he's going to be a Cardinal quarterback in September. I just don't. I do not believe he's going to be in Cardinal red. I just don't. Okay? Would you make a play for it? How about this? Would you at least inquire about him? Let's hit on that. But I do want to hit on this. Don't forget, our good friends at Morgan & Morgan now, the proud sponsor of the Big Sill Show, the National Football Show, where the fee is free. Means this, okay? They don't get paid unless you get your fair compensation first. If you get hurt on the job or you're injured on the job, finding that attorney is one of the most important things that you could possibly do. And for the people, my friends, that's not just a slogan. That's who they are, and this is what they do for their clients, getting that fair compensation. The last 30 years, they have brought home in compensation for their clients $13 billion over the last 30 years, and getting that fair compensation for you. That's right, Morgan & Morgan, with over 800 attorneys and offices in Philly, Florida, New York, all across America. Size matters, folks. Morgan & Morgan is the biggest law firm in the country, fighting for you, making sure that you get your fair compensation. And this is what they do. They fight for you with that great law firm that they have, the biggest in America. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call them at 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And finding an attorney, know this, usually gets you 3 times the compensation return that you so surely deserve. That's right. Call Morgan & Morgan. And do me a favor, tell them Big Sill sent you.
Many times when people are injured at a place of business, they don't realize they may have a case. The fact is, injuries should not happen. And most of the time when someone is injured, someone is at fault. Maybe the store manager installed a cheap, slippery floor, or there wasn't proper security. After an injury at a hotel, restaurant, store, or any place of business, it's so important to call us. Time matters, size matters. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake a mom. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Welcome back. National Football Show, your boy Big Stills. David Ajabo, interesting player. Really 1 year of tape, right? 1 year of tape, really. He's one of those guys that it would be a gamble if you used a second rounder. I think the real issue would have been if he didn't get hurt at the pro day, if somebody would have taken him in the first round. Somebody probably would have, because obviously the need for edge rushers in today's NFL, you have to have those guys. I told you the three most important positions on your football team are corner, pass rusher, and quarterback. Now you can even add potentially wide receiver into that mix if you have the right quarterback. Would you gamble on a second rounder with a guy that's injured right now? Would you? God, I hate drafting guys that have injuries. You know what I'm saying? I hate taking guys, to me, that it's not just the gamble of the tape of only 1 year of football where you're seeing production. By the way, he's a very productive player in that 1 year stretch. Sydney says yes. Pete says yes. You take him in the second round? Boy, that's a big pick. Especially when there's other quality guys that are going to be in that position for you to take an opportunity at. Now, look, I'll tell you this, man. That kid from FSU, I don't think many people are looking at him. Jermaine Johnson, that kid at 6'5", 268 pounds, 272 pounds, that kid gets around the corner, and he is also a hell of a player. And I kind of compare those two together because Jermaine didn't really play on a very good unit. But when you watch him in isolation and you watch him, the way he could turn the corner and the way he runs the hula hoop, this kid can play, man. He's kind of flying under the radar, but this Jermaine Johnson kid can play. I mean, I would be more apt to I don't like drafting players that are injured. Okay? I don't. I don't like drafting guys like that. So, I mean, to me, Pete says that Jermaine Johnson will be a top 10 pick. It's funny you should say that. I got him at 12 going to the Minnesota Vikings. I'm probably going to do another mock draft. But then again, I'm telling you, guys, am I wrong to take this Trent McDuffie off of 15 right now? You think I'm wrong to take him off that list right there at 15? I got Trent McDuffie right there at 15. I know the 16th pick has been dealt to the Saints. That's why I had Devin Lloyd there. I'll have to restructure another mock draft here before the draft. But should I take Trent Duffy off that 15th pick? I'm not so sure yet. Okay? I'm not. So, I mean, would you take a shot at David Ajabo? Was coached in a good system. But Michigan, can you name me any defensive lineman that they've had in the last 25 years that was an all-pro? Name me one player out of Michigan in the defensive line that you go like this, wow. Or how about anybody under the Harbaugh era in the D-line? I know some backers. The kid in Tampa's pretty good. But can you name me anybody that they've produced in their front four? Name me one Michigan defensive tackle. Defensive edge rusher. And I'm supposed to believe these two guys here are all of a sudden going to be the best pass rushers that Michigan has had in the last 50 years. Man, I don't know. I'm not a big – see, I'm a program. I do look at the program. Do you produce – are you a NFL producing – watch this. How would you feel about drafting a wide receiver? You know what? I'll say this, and I bet you Xander knows a bunch of wide receivers that never really even got an opportunity to play very much at Alabama. But would I bring them into my camp and would I bring them into my 90-man roster going into training camp? You bet I would. You're in the same room with Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jameson Williams, and you may not get a lot of playing time, but you're coached by those guys. I think I'm going to give you a shot to come in here and see what you have. Alvin Kamara couldn't start in the backfield at Alabama, so he had to transfer to Tennessee. Think about that. Alvin Kamara is one of the best dual backs we have in the NFL. Catching passes out of the backfield, running in between the tackles. He's a spectacular player. Couldn't start at Alabama. Look at Matt Castle. Matt Castle won 11 ball games in New England. Wins a division title in Kansas City. You know, he wasn't a guy who played and started one down at USC because Carson Palmer and Matt Leinart were there. But Bill Belichick looked at that and said, well, these are 2 Heisman Trophy winners. Of course he's not going to get an opportunity to play. So he took Castle in the late rounds, and when Brady got hurt, he won 11 ball games. They didn't miss a beat. It's the only year, I think, too, that during that Brady run, because Brady got hurt, I think that the Dolphins won the division with Chad Pennington. I would do that. I look at programs. R. Anthony, that's a spectacular take. Only in a 34 scheme can he thrive. So you don't think he's a 4-3 defensive end. That's a good take. That's a good take. That's a good take, man. I think the 34s, I think those, unless you have, there's no way Philadelphia can run a 34 and be successful. They don't have linebackers. They've got to control the game to the most of their ability in a forefront. Their linebackers are dudes. Their linebackers are like guys. Razor says, Big Ten football, what did you expect? Nothing. Like, look, when I see the kid from Purdue or I see Aiden Hutchinson, who do you see in the NFL? Like the Kerrigan guy. It's kind of who I see Aiden Hutchinson being. Kerrigan was good with the Washington Commanders. Who else? When I think of a defensive end, these guys, how about this? These edge rushers are not even as good as Clyde Simmons. The kid from Purdue, and are they going to be better than Derek Barnett? Do you see Chase Young and the Bozas in any of these players that'll be taken? People keep going, well, Aiden Hutchinson's going to be the first player taken by the Lions. Man, that's going to suffice to people in that region because he played in Ann Arbor. I don't see it. Okay? Dude, that's right. That's right. Xander just said it perfectly. We're how many days out from the draft are we? We're going to be a week tomorrow, right? Do we know who the number 1 pick in the draft is? Every year we do this. Trevor Lawrence is going number 1. One of the quarterbacks is going number 1. This guy here's going number 1. Is it Neal? Is it Hutchinson? Is it Stingley? Who? Is it the kid from NC State? I'm not saying one of these guys is not going to go into the NFL this coming season and be a star. But this is the problem that I have with Howie. Howie, where do you see, unless Stingley comes down to you? And by the way, you know, I did some homework, and Xander is not as high on Stingley. And I'll tell you why. There's something to it. The year they won the national championship, Stingley was the best player on that team, maybe. Then the next year was kind of a drop-off in production. Last year, that defense was not very good. And it's almost like he made some business decisions. Like 3 years ago, he was incredible on that national championship LSU team. I was like this. That kid is better than the guy in Denver that's playing DB. Surtain, he's better. I'll take that back. However, I do think Stingley, here's where I think he has to go. Stingley's not a leader like a Patrick Surtain or a Patrick Peterson. He's not a leader like that. But if you put him on a team with Darius Slay, he's going to be a stud. He can't be the centerpiece corner on your – he's not a Jalen Ramsey. See, you got to be a little bit arrogant when you play that position and you're that guy, you're on an island, dog. I would say this to you. Would you agree with me that the toughest position to play in the National Football League is corner? Get the fastest guy in your cul-de-sac. Fastest guy in your cul-de-sac. And you got to run backwards 20 yards and cover him. But you got to run backwards. And see how good you are. See how many times you fall on your head. You got to run backwards. You got to defend the ball and not the player, but you have to still feel for the player. And you're doing this all on the blind. You name me a tougher position. Speed, physicality, athleticism, turning around. Playing cornerback in the NFL and today with the way they throw flags is an impossible task. And when you get a really good corner like Ramsey or back in the day, Darrelle Revis, this kid Surtain, in my opinion, would have been the defensive player of the year if it wasn't for Micah Parsons in Dallas. Okay? It's the toughest physical position to play. Maybe not. It's the toughest athletic position to play in the NFL is cornerback. You're running backwards, and you got to run backwards. Then you got to make a break, not injuring or not hitting the player, and you've got to play the ball, and you've got to be a wide receiver. Well, they're going to call PI on you. You got a player that can shut down half the field like Dion could. Man, it's impossible to replace a player like that. Playing corner in today's NFL too. You know, back in the day, you could jam. And you could keep jamming him, that 5-yard rule. And sometimes a referee would be a little bit more lenient. And he would give you past the 5 yards. They mugged guys like Jerry Rice and Andre Rison and all those great, fabulous wide receivers back in the day all the way down the field. Now you can't touch these guys. That's why they become more important. That's why Deebo Samuel is so important to the Eagles. You get a guy like that. I know people are saying this to me. They go, Sills, what about Honey Badger? Dude, I'll get a safety in the draft. I'll take the kid out of Maryland in the 3rd round. Put him back there. He'll be that'll do it for me. I need a corner and an edge rusher. Give me a corner and an edge rusher. Yeah, find this video in your YouTube browser. Yeah. Hey, listen. He did show up sometimes. But his best years were 3 years ago and 2 years ago, not last year. Noah McDuffie. Charles Woodson, athlete. Charles Woodson today would be insane. Okay? Still, it'd be difficult for him to even play. Maniac says, Sills, I said our defense has more holes than ShopRite Swiss. And you gave me the finger. No. I know this, but I can get away with this if I have a proficient offense. Tom Brady won a Super Bowl 1 year with the 28th ranked defense. Dude, in today's NFL, you've got to build your offense first, not your defense. You could have the number 1 defense in the NFL and won't get you anything, dog. Look at the Rams. The Rams aren't a top defense. They're like top 15, but they're great in pass rushing. Chris says you can jam at the line. You can, but you can't if you don't have good cover corners, and you don't. That's why the Eagles play that umbrella defense. Hamilton, I'm not drafting a first-round pick at safety. And if Howie doesn't like linebackers, how in the heck is he going to take a first-round safety? Dude, I'll take the safety from Maryland. Get him in the 3rd. And by the way, there we go with Notre Dame. Notre Dame produces no NFL guys. Stop, guys. Look at the factories. Stay in the lane of the factories that make NFL. Tell me where the NFL factories are today for talent. And by the way, are there outliers? and other teams where you have one guy. That's why when you draft a guy from North Dakota State, oh, good luck. Good luck. Hey, North Dakota State. Yeah, but Steve McNair was drafted at Elkhorn State. Yeah, he's a needle in a haystack. You're trying to diminish failure here. Okay, I didn't get Steve McNair, but I went out and I drafted Peyton Manning. Here's your factories. You can't go wrong here. Texas A&M, Florida, Ohio State, Pitt, Bama, Georgia, Oregon, Utah, Clemson, and you want to draft a guy out of Purdue? Okay. Good luck. Penn State. Those are your places with premium first-round pick guys. Tim Brown was the last Notre Dame player that mattered. Yeah, that Zach dude, too, that plays on the Cowboys in the O-line. Every time people tell me about C.J. Stroud at Ohio State, I laugh at you. How many people think that Justin Fields is going to turn it around in Chicago? How many people think LSU is another place? Absolutely. How many people think Justin Fields is going to turn it around? Zach Martin, thank you, Razor. How many people think that Justin Fields is going to turn it around? Everybody on the JAKIB Media channel gave me shit last year for that when I said, that guy will never do anything in the league. I think it's a fabulous pick. He runs a 4.3. I went, so? I went, so? So? Anytime I hear someone bringing up 40-yard dashes, okay, every time I see somebody bringing up 40-yard dashes with NFL quarterbacks or prospects, that's when I know he's not a prospect. I don't want to hear shit about him being a 40-yard dash. I'm not trying to put a 4x100 relay team together. I'm trying to put an offensive huddle together. Fran says, hey, Dan, who would you rather have for the Eagles? Wyatt or Davis? God, that's such a good question. Xander, what do you think? Wyatt or Davis? God, Wyatt is so productive. And he graded better at the combines. Man, but you run a 4.78 at 351 pounds. Whew, that kid Wyatt can play, though, man. He ran a 4.71. Davis is a mountain of a man, too. Played against the best teams in the country. You say, Wyatt, that's too easy. Dude, Jordan Davis, man. How many guys have you ever seen? The only guy that I've ever seen that size run like that is Shaq. Wyatt plays the 5 technique. Davis is a 3 technique. That's a great take. I think Fields had a chance if he had a good offensive mind. You hire Pep Hamilton. He's the next big name. No way. No way. I watched him with the awful offensive line get annihilated in Chicago. I watched Joe Burrow with a horrible offensive line take a team to a Super Bowl. No way. And you had Allen Robinson. There was theoretically more offensive talent in Chicago for Justin Fields than Jalen Hurts had in Philadelphia last year. You see the contract that Allen Robinson just signed? Don't give me shit. I don't want to hear that excuse any longer about bad old lines. I saw a guy with the 30th ranked O-line, according to Pro Football Focus, take a team all the way to the Super Bowl. That doesn't work any longer. You know when you see a guy. It's a great take, though, man. The kid Wyatt, man. I mean, I would really hate my. I thought Wyatt kept the whole front four and the front seven of Georgia together. Dude, there's going to be a boatload of kids taking off that defense. I think there could be as many as 6 guys out of the 11 going to top 3 rounds. You had to get this too. You had to have a defense like that, in my opinion, to stop Alabama. You had to have that. Let's not forget something here. Bama handled them in the SEC title game. They handled them. And what did they do in the national championship game? They brought pressure. They were not going to let Bryce Young sit back there and pick them apart like he did in the SEC title game. They were going to gamble and get to him. Keep him in the box. It's what they did. They kept Alabama pinned on their side of the football field the majority of that ball game. Okay? They kept them pinned down there because they brought pressure and kept them pinned. They were not going to sit back. You see, their arrogance got in the way in the SEC title game. They thought they were just going to roll their helmets out there and Bama was just going to lay down, and Bama rolled them up. Then Kirby Smart said, well, we ain't doing that again. We're going to live or die, and we're going to blitz the shit out of this kid, and we're going to bring pressure. And that's how they got to him. And I thought Bryce kept him in it as long as he could. But there's just too much talent on that Georgia team. That's how they beat them. And do you know how many teams next year are going to have that ability to do that to Alabama? None. There's not going to be a Georgia defense out there in the country like that. You see a defense like that once every 10 years. If that, with that many players coming off of it. Shit, Bama's got a linebacker that's probably going to go in the top 5 picks. The Kobe Dean will probably go somewhere in the 20s. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes to Dallas. I could see the Dallas Cowboys need a linebacker. And where do the Cowboys pick? $24th. I could see Dean being down there. I could see Nakobe Dean. See, the problem with hey, easy money. Here's the problem with Corral. And look, all the things that Baldinger and Xander and everybody and all of you guys are saying, easy money, who has been a big proponent of him. Okay. Do you know the problem is? Is he a 15th pick in the draft? No. Is he the 18th pick in the draft? No. So you're going to overdraft him, knowing full well he's coming in on Jalen Hurts' level. You all right with that? You think Matt Corral could have taken the Philadelphia Eagles to the playoffs? Could he take this football team right here to the playoffs? Schedule being the way it is. You think he's just going to step in? Okay? I'm not drafting a guy who's projected as a second-round talent with the 15th pick. I'm not overpaying for a car. That's like asking me to pay $1,000 for a hotel room when it's $100 stay-at-night place like Hotel 6. I'm not doing that. Guys, Hotel 6. Okay? I'm not doing that. That's how you create busts on your roster. No way. Didn't you learn your lesson with overpaying and overvaluing Carson Wentz? Okay? I mean, really. Draft a guy out of nobody state university. You give him all that money, and then you're shocked he sucked. Really? Played against nobody and no competition. And by the way, they drafted him clearly on potential, not on him being able to be productive. And by the way, I've said this, and you're like, well, Sills, you talk about his numbers. I'm talking about numbers when they matter. Raiders, Jaguars. You can't have a 10 quarterback rating in a closeout seasonal game at the end of the year on the road with a 2-win team. He's got to be better in that. And get this, Carson Wentz had a decent year. But is he elite? Not one of you here think he is. But somehow, magically, Matt Corral could be better than Wentz. 27 touchdowns, 7 picks, 95 quarterback rating. Really? Okay. Played against the best kids in the country. That's an advantage. Was coached by Lane Kiffin. Another advantage. Played with some skilled kids at wideout. Lane knows how to recruit. Lane's a good recruit. Hell, he just got a $7.5 million quarterback raise. Holy cow, I got to take a time out here. Hey, by the way, hour 3 is coming up. And our friend, Lord Brunson, will be there. Can't wait to talk to him. We're going to talk to him at the bottom of the hour, 5:30 Eastern time. We'll reset everything. A lot of news today, huh? I thought that first hour was awesome too, man. We had Rick Barry. Rick Barry calls Doc Rivers a horrible person. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hit the like button. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake a mom. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
I'm putting this out there, man. HBO should be ashamed how they talk about Lakers legend Jerry West. That was awesome. Way to go, guys, getting those sound clips up. I got them over on my Twitter page and over on the JAKIB Media page too. It's really great. He said he has very little respect for Doc Rivers. That's in the first hour. And he's like this, man. HBO should be ashamed of themselves how they're talking about Jerry West. I would make the argument to you that Jerry West and Pat Riley are the two greatest architects when it comes to building championship ball teams we've ever seen. The guy in San Antonio also. But I would say this to you. Those three men probably, and if you want to go Red Auerbach back in the day, okay, yeah, Red built all those Celtic championship teams, sure, okay. But in the modern era here, you would have to say that you'd have to go like this, man. You'd have to say Pat Riley and Jerry West. Hit the like button. Philly 500. Yo, Big Sills. Let's go get Debo. No brainer to me. Philly 500 in the room. Bro, love you, man. You two guys, man. Lord Brunson and you. Got you. I'm with you, Philly. Philly, let me reset it then. Let's do it here. Watch this. Philly, we'll throw it over here. Watch this, man. I would give up for Debo Samuel a 1 and a 3. And I would be willing to pay $25 million. Here's why. I can run him, playing in a slot. Hell, he could be my second tight end. Play him on the Y or the Z. He's effective in my blocking. Everything you're basically paying. Watch this. Let's do this. Let's just do this just with math here. Okay? Watch this. 25 million bucks. 25 million here. 25 million divided by wide out, tight end, running back, flanker. You're basically paying for a guy $6 million in one player. You'd be paying $6 million bucks anyway. If you were competitive in the pay scale, you're paying $6 million bucks for a guy that's productive at every single asset that he has. And you're not going to be wasting a lot of your commodity. What's the issue? And by the way, how about this, guys? Doesn't that speed the clock up on Jalen too? If Jalen Hurts, I'll tell you this. If Jalen Hurts is not averaging 275 yards, tell me, hey, Philly, Vaselli, easy money, tell me this. If Jalen Hurts is not averaging 270 yards in the first 5 games of the season, with that schedule being the way it is, with Devontae Smith, hopefully Debo Samuel, Dallas Goedert, I'm putting Gardner Minshew in. I found out what I needed to know. Doesn't matter if he has the assets. He can't find them. Why sit back and run RPOs? Oh, my quarterback got 900 yards rushing. So what? So what? Right. He won't be a running back here. He does so much more. Well, hold on here. Picking. I want him to be. That's the threat. I'm paying the $25 million not to change the guy's Skill set. See, big picking, that's the problem you get right there. I'm not changing anything the guy does. It's like hiring an on-air talent or a salesperson. Guy thinks he knows how to do it better. The boss. Oh, we're going to do it this way. I know you're very talented. And he has you doing shit you've never done before. I don't do that. It's not my skill. Oh, yeah, but this is how we do it. Then why'd you draft me? Why'd you sign me? Why'd you trade for me? What's the point? If you're trying to change that guy's skill set, you build your offense around what the players are, not by what your stupid game plan is. Birdman says, Howie, Big Sills, Howie Vision will not allow it. He's stuck in the mediocrity realm. Man. That's right. If you have Debo on the team, Devontae, Miles Sanders, that exceptionally gifted O-line, and Jalen shit in the bed, hook. 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 Thank you, Big. Thank you, Philly. Hook it. But see what it also does? Something that Philly 500. Dude, thank you so much, brother. You're awesome. Philly, but you know what Philly said? Philly said the other day, and Gary Cobb said it too, kind of echoed it a little bit. Yeah, but there's a 3-year plan, and I got my own Howie vision of how I see this team being built. Is it me, guys? Is it me? But does Howie want to find his own Debo Samuel at a cheaper price? Is that what he wants to do? Sydney, you get Debo Samuel and Honey Badger, NFC champs. You think you're better than the Buccaneers and Rams? Packers will be in the conversation on something to say there. I think you're in a – how about this? I think it puts you in the room to win the NFC East. Trey Burks is the way to go. That's the cheap man's version of Debo Samuel. Hey, get this. I think we'll learn a lot from Howie if he takes Burks out of Arkansas, won't we? He didn't want to pay the money and give up the trade picks for him. Fran, what running back in this year's draft is better than Miles Sanders? Funny you should say that. Funny you should say that. Funny you should say that. How about Zamir White, the kid from Georgia? How about the kid White from Georgia? Would you like that kid? I watched some game film on him last night. He's a pretty good back. And Georgia's notorious for putting backs in the NFL. Is that his name? I think it's, is that right, Xander? It's Zamir White? Saw that kid in the SEC title game and also in the national championship game. That kid can play, man. Is he better than Miles Sanders? He's a pretty damn good back. Okay? There you go, man. The Michigan guys again. I don't know. He is maybe in the third. That kid can play, man. Him and the Cook kid, too. James Cook, yeah. That Georgia kid, man. The kids from San Diego and the kid from San Diego State. Oof. I get a little nervous, man. Marshall Faulk came out of there, and I know Rashad Penny, man, he's just getting into it now. Oh, yeah, that's right. Georgia looks like an Alabama team when they were packed. But here's the difference. Georgia's not going to be as packed this year as they were, where Alabama's packed like that every year. This was a down year, and they got to the national. Dude, that's such a great thing. It just reminds me of our teams, okay, our Miami Hurricane teams. We win a national championship. We're still in the title mix the next year. The whole time I was at Miami, I don't think we were ever out of the national championship picture, like ever. I posted a cool picture, and I know I kind of stuck it to Xander a little bit. Nobody will ever touch our home win streak. 10 years, 58 games in a row. I helped start the streak. First 2 years, man. I put 12 wins on the board there. JB and I actually put 12 wins on the board there at Miami. Those Gators beat us in 85, man. First game of the year, too, man. It was packed down at the Orange Bowl. 85,000 Orange Bowl people, and it was all Gator country. Man, we came out in the dumbest gear possible. We were all orange, and they were all orange. We went, oh, my God. It beat us by 11. Last time we lost at home for 10 years. Oof. We walked off that field, man, and after that I went 22-1 at home. We ain't losing any longer, man, at home. I said we will not be beat at home. Be the last time we lose, and it was surely the last time. You imagine going 10 years at home and never losing a home game? Think of how many recruiting classes went through without losing a home game. I mean, there were kids. I think Mario Cristobal didn't lose a home game his entire 4 years at Miami. I don't think he lost a home game. I think that's a fact. I didn't lose a home game. Oh, man. Incredible. Yeah, Bama's loaded. Debo didn't break out till year 3. Yeah, well, Christopher, you know why? Because Garoppolo was hurt the entire time. He's been in and out of the lineup. Kind of hard to get Debo Samuel the ball when your quarterback situation is a train wreck. And by the way, so you're going to do this too if you're John Lynch. So you're not only going to trade away Debo Samuel, but then you're going to trade away Jimmy Garoppolo, and you're going to turn the team over to Trey Lance. All right. I want to see that. Gainwell might be more durable. Dude, Gainwell. Come on, man. Gainwell's a dude. Hey, Philly 500, man. I can't tell you how I appreciate you being here, man. Thank you so much, man. You guys, hey, you know, it's funny. I was talking to Lord Brunson. He goes, hey, man, everything, how'd we do? And I go, well, you're coming on again. You know, I don't put very many people on again if they suck. Like we had Rick Barry, Hall of Fame hoop player, on earlier. Oh, tomorrow, by the way, Mike Gullick will come on with us. And we're going to talk to Mike Gullick. And we'll get Mike's thoughts on Debo Samuel. We'll get his thoughts. A 1 and a 3 and $25 million. What in the world, okay? What in the world would be the holdup? What would stop Howie right now from doing this deal? And do you think the owner wants it? Do you think Jeffrey Lurie and Howie talk about deals like this and Kyler Murray potentially? That's right. Sean, am I saying, is this a fair price? I think you overpay for Matt Corral, but is this a fair price? 20 to 25 million, a 1 and a 3. But Rico, he is a budget player because I'm getting 3 different positions out of the guy. I'm getting a wide receiver, a running back, and I can line him up also at the tight end slot on the weak side. He's so physical. I could put him in the slot. He's a hybrid player. Hybrid is code for he does multiple things. And you can rationalize it out going like this. We don't have to draft 3 players. We got it in 1. And a productive. By the way, Deebo Samuel did make the All-Pro team, right? He did make the All-Pro team with Jimmy Garoppolo as his quarterback. He did make the All-Pro team. Right? We're not talking about a Pro Bowler alternate. We're talking about a guy who made the Pro Bowl here. By the way, see what Cooper Kupp? I tweeted it out early, and all of a sudden everybody's now jumping. Oh, my God almighty. Xander, is it not funny when I tweet something how it becomes news? Like either the next day or a couple minutes later. So I tweet out earlier that Cooper Kupp wants a new contract with the Rams. Cooper Kupp this year is expected to make $14.875 million. Okay? Okay? I know. The snowflake tears, man. These guys, where is he getting this from? Well, I know Sean McVay since he was 13. Yeah. I've been friends with Sean McVay since Sean McVay was 13 years old. Used to play catch with him. Yeah. Used to see him over at the Buccaneer complex with his grandfather, John McVay. John McVay was at one time the former Giants coach. John McVay was the guy with Ed DeBartolo and with Bill Walsh that built that 49er dynasty. Lived in Tampa all them years. And there's little Sean McVay running around the Buccaneer complex. And I'm like, who's that? He goes, oh, that's my grandkid. And by the way, I worked for Mike McVay, who's the Outback Bowl director. I used to do sidelines. The McVay family and I are like this. I texted him the other day. So Kupp makes $14 million. You know, he's going to start bitching about a contract. I shouldn't be saying this to you, okay? I shouldn't be saying this to you. This is how I talk to certain people I know very well. Like I said, I've known Sean McVay for about 30 years, 25 years. Okay? I go, this dude's going to want more money. He's making $14 million? Bro. He goes, he's got 2 years left on his deal. I go, I don't give a shit. So did Tyreek Hill. So does Deebo Samuel. These guys want their dough today, dog. And the way you're passing it out there with Les Snead and Kevin Demoff, he goes, yeah, well, I think they've already started reaching out to him. I go, okay. He goes, but don't go quoting prices. I go, I don't know what you're going to pay him. I have no idea. So I turn around within minutes and I tweeted out, Cooper Kupp wants a new contract with the Rams. I hear no. I phrased it in a way where I went like this. The Rams are working on a contract now and an extension for Cooper Kupp. All of a sudden, oh, Cooper Kupp wants more money. And I'm going like, okay. If Big Sill says it, it's a joke. But then when Jeff Darlington comes in and says it, oh, I guess it's law. Ugh. Right? Okay, so wait. How much does Cooper Kupp get? What do you have, 1,900 yards plus? 1945? 1945. Guy wins the Super Bowl, has 145 catches. All right? All right, let me take a quick time out here. Lord Brunson's going to be with us. Philly, stick around, brother. Awesome stuff, man. I'm going to ask him a lot of the questions I asked you because I want to get his take on this. Deebo Samuel, been a hot topic today. Hit the like button. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake a mom. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Welcome back. National Football Show, your boy Big Sills. Mike Golick will be on with us tomorrow. Working on a time with him. He'll step in with us. By the way, we got a great text from Nick Sirianni. He's not going to come on with us until after the draft. And so we got to get with the Eagles, and the Eagles will try to work that out for us once the draft is completed. We're going to get Nick Sirianni on. I know it's been a year-long quest, but know this. Big Sills gets on who he wants, and I don't stop until I get him on. So I got a great text from Nick, and we got to get with Bob and the Eagles. So sometime after the draft, we'll be getting the head football coach of the Eagles on, Nick Sirianni. Without further ado, though, I've been saying this to you, man. I tell you what, I love getting people that make content, and I love people that are getting on that really, without a doubt, people follow and they listen to. I look at broadcasters today, and I can't tell you how many times I see broadcasters talking a lot of shit, just talking. And funny, I don't hear anything. But there's certain guys that I've been following now, and with Xander's help, that say something. And I used to tell Joy Taylor this too. Lloyd Brunson joins us right now, LB. I was telling Joy Taylor this, who got a great opportunity to work with Colin Coward. She was my producer. And she said this to me. She goes, Sills, how do I become an on-air talent? I go, say something. Just make sure you say something. If you're going to open your mouth, have conviction in your takes, believe in what you take, and believe in what your stances are. And I'll tell you what, man, you came on the show last week, and you were fighting them off, man. Welcome aboard, brother. Appreciate you coming back here, man.
Big Sills, thank you for having me again, man.
Let's get into it. Deebo Samuel has informed, and you and I have been talking about this along with Philly 500 and pretty much everybody else for the last 5 days, and now it's become official. Jeff Darlington's now reporting it that he wants out of San Francisco. I said this, Eagles a 1-3 and pay the $20 to $25 million, put him in the offense. We'll find out if Jalen's the guy with Devontae Smith and with Deebo Samuel and with Dallas Goedert. You're going to find out if the quarterback is the right guy or not if you have that talent in your huddle with that offensive line. Are you a fan or not?
I'm a fan of that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. This Deebo Samuels, this is a guy that could play in any offense in the National Football League. He's perfect for our offense. We're a running football team. He could block. He's not a guy that requires, deep shots to, impact the game. He can impact the game, 5-yard passes in the middle, deep shots. He's the prototypical guy that can do everything from the position. He can even run the ball. This is my only problem with it, though, Big Sills, is he could request what he want. It's up to the 49ers if they're going to let him go.
And see, I think they're in a position, though, LB, where they may have their hand forced. You can't get rid of Garoppolo because of the $25 million he's making, and he's injured. So nobody is going to be rushing to get Garoppolo, and that's still on the cap. And you've got Bosa going into a final year of his contract, okay? And you're going into this draft without a first rounder because you gave up all those first rounders for getting a chance to get Trey Lance. You're kind of in a position here where you can maybe go in and get that kid Burks, put him in a Kyle Shanahan offense, maybe at that 15 or 18 spot, he's still sitting there, bring that guy in, and they pretty much have the same type of offense. And I agree with you 100%. Hard to replace a guy when he puts that kind of production in there. So I think the issue is the 49ers being pushed in a corner.
I agree. And this is a classic case of, kind of like bad management. You name all the guys they got to play. I mean, I don't think they anticipated Deebo Samuel's just jumping off at the radar the way he has the last year and a half or whatever, but they're just in a bad situation. Now, it's teams that can take advantage of the situation and take advantage of the 49ers as well. Like, if we know they're in a bad situation, the other GMs in the National Football League do. So they can just be offering a second-round pick. You know what I mean? I think the 49ers are going to end up caving to at least break even at this point. That's how I would play it if I'm another GM.
How about this too, LB? Even if he comes into Philadelphia and he puts up 970 yards in receptions, say he has another 500 running the ball, what have you, and he's blocking like a demon with the number one rushing attack, the advantage is that he will get and give to Devontae Smith being wide open on the other side. Think about what, and I said this earlier on the show, Travis Kelce is going to struggle this year in that Chiefs offense. I'll tell you why. Everybody and every coordinator was like this. I can't let that kid get behind me, man.
Yeah.
I can't let Tyreek Hill get behind me. You were so concerned about him beating you deep that Kelce had all that underneath. And no disrespect to Juju Schuster, that dude ain't the same thing as the cheetah. Mm-hmm. And so I think we realize that we're going to see a little step down in that passing game. Look at what he could do to Dallas Goedert and also Devontae Smith. I mean, he would increase their ability to at least let us see what their potential really could be. Do you agree?
I agree. He impacts the games in a multitude of ways. We have this package that we bring J.J. Arcega-Whiteside out because he can block really well. Now, if you have a Deebo Samuels could play every package and other teams don't know what's coming. If I'm an opposing defender and I see Arcega-Whiteside, I know this is most likely a run play. That's what he's out here for, to try to steal the edge as a wide receiver. But if I see Deebo Samuel out there, I don't know what you're giving me. You know what I mean? This guy just affects the game in so many ways, from the running game to the passing game. And Dallas Goedert would probably be the primary beneficiary of having a guy like Deebo Samuel. I'm all in on this one, Big Sil. Listen, you pay that man, you see what you got in Jalen Hurts, and then you go from there. If Jalen Hurts can't make it work with this cast, and I am Mr. Hurts season himself, if he can't make it work with this cast, then you have a great cast. Now you got to drop a quarterback in there. I think it's a win-win for the Eagles if you acquire this guy.
To me, it just makes sense. You know what? I asked Philly 500 this question, and I'm going to ask you this question too, because I got it from Gary Cobb the other day. You know, I just don't know if there's a sense of urgency, though, LB, in the fact that the front office, I believe this. I think that there's been some sort of handshake or deal done between Jeffrey Lurie and the general manager where he went to him and said, look, we don't have to win the Super Bowl in 1 year or this year, but in the next 3 years, we have to build a Super Bowl contending football team. So I don't think there's a sense of urgency. And this was Gary Cobb's point. He thinks because that 3-year deal was signed by Howie Roseman, that's given him the latitude for the next 3 years. And so going into the draft to him makes more sense because it's in alignment with his contract and it's in alignment with what the owners promised him. So there's really not a sense of urgency. Could there be truth to this?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's not a sense of urgency for a guy who just got an extension and continues to prove himself at the right times. You know, Howie Roseman proved himself when we won that championship. You know, we didn't question him for a couple years. Howie Roseman then makes the playoffs with a bunch of banged up rosters and a quarterback on training wheels. He proved himself. He earned this extension. But, you know, at the same time, I feel like Howie Roseman can be aggressive and try to shoot for it right now because you got a lot of aging vets. This can go either way and be successful for you. The Philadelphia Eagles are just in a great spot in this situation because if you draft a guy, you avoid having to pay somebody big if you draft a wide receiver, or if you go and get Deebo Samuel, you still got a lot of vets, you know what I mean, who still got a lot left in the tank that can make a productive run for a Super Bowl. If you ask me the one which I would like to see done, I would like to see you get as many stars as you can this year and try to make it happen with this roster. You don't know how long you're going to have a Kelsey or a Cox, et cetera, or Slay, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to bring up something. Hey, Xander, let's see if we can bring up what Seth Joyner said. If there's any possible way, maybe we can. I don't know if we can here. If we can bring up what Seth Joyner said earlier on Sports Take when he was talking about him not being like a fan of it. And I'll paraphrase it while we're getting ready to show you this because I want you to see what Seth said. You know, Seth is like, hey, look, we got Kyle Shanahan out in San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan is an innovator, and Kyle Shanahan is a guy that knows how to use particular players and when it comes to their skill set. So to me, I'm looking at that and I say, well, wait a minute. Kyle Shanahan is also 8-22 when Jimmy Garoppolo is not on the field. And this is what Seth's take was. And I'm going to give you my take first, and then I want your response when he was asked about potentially getting Deebo Samuel in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform.
It's going to cost a lot. We know that. We see, you know, with some of these trades and the King's ransom that some of the receivers are getting. Would you be aggressive in going after him, or would you try and go a different direction?
You know, I was listening in, and I agree with D Gunn. I just think that the price is going to be too high for what you're trying to do, what you're trying to build long term. And look, you know, Mike Shanahan, not Mike, but
Kyle.
Yeah. Kyle Shanahan is really innovative in what he does. Okay. Do we have the type of play caller on our roster?
I knew he was gonna come. I knew he was gonna say that.
I'm just saying. Listen, these see when people look at players, okay, they see what players do in other situations with other coaches and in other systems, and they try to project what it's going to look like on their team. The media does it, fans do it, even, you know, organizational people who really don't delve deep into, you know, what makes a guy effective. You have to look at all of that. You know, are you going to be able to replicate offensively what Deebo does in San Francisco? And to Deebo's point, he wants out, but he may go somewhere and find that the grass ain't necessarily greener.
Yeah,
because he may go someplace else, and they might not be able to do what Kyle Shanahan's been able to do with him.
That's right.
And then he's going to get frustrated, and then they're going to ask him to take a pay cut, and he's going to tell him to go to hell, and the next thing you know, he'll be on the market again. Sometimes you just need to shut up and wait for the team to come to you with the right offer and go back to work, because San Francisco is the best place for him to be. And no, we don't need Deebo in Philadelphia.
That was Seth Joyner on Sports Take. That goes noon to 3 Eastern time right here on JAKIB Media Channel here. So check out the fellows. They're really doing a great job. I disagree 100% with that, and I'll tell you why. I think Nick Sirianni was handcuffed with Jalen Hurts a little bit because he's a rookie quarterback in a starting position. You got to still find out who he is. We're coming out of a pandemic. And remember something, LB. They were 2-5, and he had to change completely his entire offensive attack and approach overnight. And what did they do? Instead of throwing the ball 33 times, which they tried to do, and they tried to do more RPOs at the beginning, what did he do? They went to a dominant running attack. He completely changed his philosophy inside of those first 7 games, and all of a sudden they went on a playoff run. I think that coach knows how to put people in position. He was coached and he was tutored by Frank Reich, who did the same thing for Nick Foles and everybody in Philadelphia. Frank is notorious for not having an offensive game plan or a playbook. He is notorious for customizing offensive game plans around the talent that's in the huddle. That's why, LB, I think the Eagles have taken a step back the last 4 years. I think Doug's a fine offensive coach. I just happen to think that Frank knows how to tailor these offensive packages better than what Doug is. I'm not saying he's a better coach. I'm saying he knows how to make these tailor-made offenses. I think Nick doesn't get enough credit for taking a 2-5 team to the playoffs.
I agree. I agree with that statement, but I disagree with Seth's stance as well, because Deebo Samuels, in my opinion, is just plug and play. You can take Deebo Samuels and remove Jalen Reagor and put him in that same situation, and you get the absolute most productivity from the wide receiver spot on this team this year. How many screen passes has Jalen Reagor just took and done absolutely nothing with? You know what I mean? If that's Deebo Samuels in that position, those bubble screens are much more effective. Hence, you would be calling more because they've been working more. You know what I mean? Jalen Reagor has also dropped a host of touchdowns. Bottom line, Deebo Samuels is going to get you more than 17 yards a game. That's what Jalen Reagor is getting us. You need a guy like Deebo Samuel. What the Philadelphia Eagles need, in my opinion, is a jersey seller. You need a guy that people are excited about, and a guy who's cocky enough to say, I'm not playing unless the money right. You need somebody with some swag like that. I think that'll take us over the top.
Now, see, folks,
not over the top, probably like Super Bowl, but we could win a division with something like that.
See, there's the damn take I should have had there the other day. I said that Kyler Murray was going to sell tickets, and you should have seen the ass kicking I've taken on Twitter, dude. I mean, Sileo, we would sell it out if we had Bart quarterbacking our team. What are you talking about? We averaged 67,790. I'm going, oh, my God. That's the take, that Kyler Murray would sell more jerseys. Oh, yeah. Great take there, LB. Speaking of Kyler Murray, jersey seller, I agree with you, man. Speaking of Kyler Murray, it looks like that thing's getting uglier. No interest in him. You'd rather just roll it out and play it back with Jalen and not go with him?
Never Kyler Murray. You know, I've been going to war on Twitter about this Kyler Murray thing the last like 3 or 4 days. You know, people have been asking me, Big Sills, well, who's your top 10? I can easily name 10 guys every time. And the list changes, I think, from time to time. I can just give you 10 guys. I'm good on Kyler, man. Kyler is just, and I don't like the way how Kyler handled him wanting a new contract in that situation. I don't like for my starting quarterback to be deleting the franchise. I expect that from skill players. But a guy who's supposed to be carrying the franchise on his shoulders, you got to have some patience, man, with your team. You can't jump the gun like that.
You know, too, man, and when Larry Fitzgerald's talking shit on you,
right?
You know what I mean? I mean, dude, Larry Fitzgerald is one of the most respected people in the league, and he's one of the most respected guys that we've had. All right, these wide receivers that are coming out, and I kind of ranked them the other day, and I'd like to get your spin. Just give me your top 2 guys that you would really love to see the Eagles really pursue. If everything stays status quo right now, give me the 2 things that there are 2 names that you like going into this draft.
I really like Olave. I really, really like him. I think the route running is next.
You think he's better than Wilson?
That's tough. Those Ohio guys, I mean, I don't know, man. I personally do. I think his route running is just a little better. But Wilson gets that separation as well. But I would go Olave, man. I just got a good feeling about Olave when it comes. You got to go gut feeling because they're 2 great guys. I can't give you why. I got Olave over him, but I'm definitely going Olave. And then it's Jameson Williams, man. I know the injury is scary. I know, you got to kind of, look at that and take that into consideration. But I think those 2 guys are going to just translate to the next level really, really well.
Last question for you. Would you take a gamble on David Ajabo in the 2nd round?
Yes. At 51, absolutely. 51, it makes the most sense right
Even
there.
with the injury?
Yeah. At 51, I definitely take a gamble if he's there. I got a lot of guys being there at 51. I'm really looking at Leo Chenal as well. I would take Leo Chenal from Wisconsin first. But, yeah, if David Ajabo is there, I'd definitely do it.
All right, so I closed it out with Philly 500. What's the most underappreciated thing, or what's the biggest misconception about Eagle fans that's out there for the national media and everybody around the country? If you had to name one thing that really is unfair to Eagle fans, in your opinion, in the perception of Eagle fans, what is that?
that they're just, rude people, that they're physical. We just talk. We talk a lot. Nobody's going to.
So wait, Eagle fans are just shit talkers like Sills, right? They're just shit talkers.
Right. That's all we're doing. We're just talking. Nobody's going to touch anybody. I've been to many Eagles games. They're not that crazy, It's just football talk, man. So we're a lot calmer than people give us credit for.
I got to tell you this too, man. My wife goes like this. I would never have ever thought that Philadelphia would have been the place for you to be able to fit right in like a glove with these dudes, man, because these guys are a-holes like you. I go, what's that supposed to mean? What's that supposed to mean? She goes, no. I goes, hey, I think it's I think right there the facts prove it there. So I don't know. I never thought that I would fit in like that. LB, man, thank you so much. We're gonna do this again, man. I'm a big fan of you,
yes,
and
sir.
also Philly 500. I love you guys.
My guy 500. Thank you again for having me, Dan.
You bet, man. I appreciate it. That's my boy LB, man. All good. Hit the like button here. Don't forget also our friends Morgan & Morgan, the proud sponsor of the National Football Show with Big Sills, where the fee is free. What's that mean? Means this. They don't get paid unless you get your fair compensation. That's right. If you get hurt or injured on the job, finding that lawyer is one of the most important things that you can possibly do. And get this, for the people, not a slogan. It's who they are. It's what they do. Over 30 years, they have returned $13 billion in settlements for their clients. $13 billion. And with 800 attorneys in offices in Philadelphia, Florida, New York, all across the country, Morgan & Morgan is the biggest firm in the country. And when you go to battle with another firm and you have Morgan & Morgan on your side, size matters. And that's why you go with Morgan & Morgan, to get you the fair compensation that you so deserve. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call them at 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And when you call Morgan & Morgan, you make sure you tell them Big Sil sent you.
When choosing a lawyer for your injury case, you may ask, does the size of the law firm matter? Well, of course it does. The insurance company, they're huge with unlimited resources. And whether your case is big or small, they're built to bully you out of the money you're owed. But here's the good news. We're big too, the biggest actually. And we're built to fight to make them pay for all that was taken from you. Size is our strength. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Welcome back. National Football Show with your boy Big Sills. Hit the like button, please. By the way, tomorrow, Mike Gullick will be with us. So when is that when is that cupcake Ben Simmons play? Is he like going to play at all for the Nets? I'm actually going to watch this series tonight. I am. I'm going to watch this series because get this. Did you see that they were booing Kyrie Irving at Fenway Park? Dude, I know you guys hate this, but Philadelphia and Boston have so much in common. They hate anybody talking shit on them. Oh my God. And you know what now? I've kind of like spoken in both cities. And the mentality is right there. Okay. And nobody likes to be compared to somebody else because then you come off like the second city. And New York's got the worst sports fans in the country. Well, no. I'll take that back. Los Angeles does. It's the biggest front-running cities I've ever seen. And it's like the fashion. It's like the pet rock. When the pet rock is fashionable in LA or New York, everybody loves it. Okay? Pet rocks don't work. That's why pet rocks don't work in Boston and Philly. Okay? They don't work there. The pet rock. Sileo, what the hell's that? I had a pet rock the other day. It was in my shoe. That's my pet rock. It's in my shoe. Yeah, so they're booing Kyrie, and Kyrie's shooting a one-gun salute at the Boston fans. Great. It makes for a great rivalry. Marcus goes, Sills, what time are you on these days? Hey, thank you for the plug. 3 to 6, brother. Simmons annoys me. Yeah, losers annoy you. That's why, Sydney. Have you ever seen a Japanese quarterback successful? Has there ever been a Japanese quarterback? Sills hasn't talked about Corral for over an hour. Bill will not stop. Even an eagle. Dude, I don't want him. You can have him. No dinner. No dinner. I'm not talking dinner. By the way, my Ajabo went away. You guys know what Brior's... Oh, hey, I'm going to find... Wait a minute. I'm going to find out what kind of city you are right now. Do you know what brioche is? Do you guys know what brioche is? What time is brioche? Brixie on? I don't know. Noon to 3. Sports Take. What are you, a programmer, Marcus? Or are you somebody's agent? See, now look, I'm sounding like I'm back on the East Coast. What do I look like, Marcus? Big Ben? Do you guys know what brioche is? Sills is the earth flat. Razor, no. That's for Kyrie. It's like Zambuca. No. Damn right I do. Lemon Alka-Seltzer chunks. Russian soup. Brioche. Russian soup. Nah, everything's changed, dude. Okay. Oh, I got it, Marcus. I'm only kidding, brother. Hey, Dan, if Howie Roseman isn't willing to pay for Deshaun Watson, what makes you... Dude, hey, Fran, don't F my show up. Okay? You're too wait, Fran. Don't be that honest. Don't be that honest. Sausage, herpes, thank you. Polish soup. Is he talking about brioche? It's in a blue bottle with a white label. Okay. You guys never heard? Wow. I thought there was a lot of Italians in South Philly. I thought there was a lot of Italians in Philly. All right. Well, just so you know, brioche is something that you give to an Italian guy when he's got agita. Do you guys know what agita is? Like I said, antacid. Yeah, Maniac had it, and so did you, Daz. Okay? Your show's Fran, that's nice, man. Milk of magnesia, man. It's like Similac. Oh, sorry, dude. Yeah. Hey, Maniac, you're an old school paisan. You must be. Hey, Maniac, you're either a paisan or you're a brother, because those are the only folks that know what brioche is. Yeah. Milk of magnesia. No, Big Sills don't take that. Yeah, no. You know what agita is, right? It's heart. There you go. Agita is heartburn. My grandfather used to have this jar up there, man. It's a plastic container, and it's got these little like chips in there. These little like Alka-Seltzer chips, but they're like shaped weird like spaghetti. And so anytime, man, and by the way, it works 10 times better than Alka-Seltzer. And you just put that baby in there. My grandfather would always go, no, don't drink it yet. Now you drink it. Don't let them run out. The key is, as it's bubbling up, drink it while it's bubbling. All right, Dad. So I start gunning it. You know, put hair on your balls. That's my grandfather's famous. Put hair on your balls. I'm drinking this stuff down. You know, sometimes the meatballs, a little too much, olive oil in there. My grandmother was notorious for olive oil. She made her eggs in them. Hey, come on, Graham, laid up on the olive oil. The manicotti and the lasagna, man, always floating in the olive oil. Oy. Yeah. Brioche. Whew. Those were the days. I went looking for it out here, and somebody sent me a bottle of it. Sills, I know you're not going to find it. In Lane Coast, California. He goes, here. So somebody back east sent me a bottle of brioche. Yeah. In my house, we had, get this. This is in the shitter too. Vitalis. Here. Vitalis. Brioche. And no yellow toothbrush. My aunt bought my grandfather a yellow toothbrush. He went off on it. No yellow toothbrush. Nobody uses anything yellow. Who uses my grandfather? Who uses a yellow toothbrush? Nobody. Nobody uses yellow anything. I don't want anything yellow. My grandfather hated yellow. He goes, cowards use this. I'm like, oh my God. So we had Vitalis and brioche in the shit house, in the medicine cabinet, and razors. Actual razors that you put in there. Oh, ridiculous. Oh, my God. Toothpaste. Apple cider underrated. Very nice. All right, man. Let's see how this thing. And by the way, okay, one more time here. I surrender. I should have said what Lord Brunson said, that Kyler Murray could have sold more jerseys. Jerseys, not seats. Jerseys. So when you go over to my Twitter page, at Dan Sileo Show, please do me a favor. Okay? I give up. Xander's right. I didn't think that I would take a 48-hour beating over this. Xander goes like this, man. Nobody's paying for that Shrimps jersey. Why, you pay for Carson Wentz still? I still see those jerseys floating around Philly all the time. I'd rather see a Kyler Murray jersey than a Carson Wentz jersey at Lincoln Financial, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? I mean, really, man. Oh, my God. Oh, hey, guys, do me a favor. You got to go back and watch that Rick Barry interview. Lord Brunson, too, man. He was really good. Please do me a favor. Like the show. Go back and watch it. Mike Golick will be on with us tomorrow. Don't forget the Birds in the Morning, Sports Take, noon to 3, and then we're with you 3 to 6. We really appreciate everybody. You guys have really made this thing happen. I mean, the show flew again. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow going 3 to 6 Eastern time, and we'll catch you on the flip side.